fitness and recent development and recent changes due to COVID and all this stuff. So there are multiple changes in GST. So that's why we are organizing this special webinar series. It's really our great pleasure that we are having experts from various cities of India for GST, and also we are having our own chairman, sir, WRC, Manish Gadia, sir, with us. Welcome, sir. We are having our dynamic chairman, CA Sanjay Bhujbal, sir, our committee members and secretaries, CA Harshal Ajmera, sir, our past chairman, sir, CA Sanjay Nikam, sir, Maha Shabde, sir, and sir, our committee member and past chairman, CA Jayvan Tandil, sir, and today's expert speaker, CA Rajiv Luthia, sir, Dr. Avinash Podar, sir, and all the dignitaries of the screen. So we warm welcome on this 5 day special webinar series. So first I will invite our dynamic chairman, CA Sanjay Bhujbal, sir, to give a welcome note on behalf of NAVI Mumbai branch of WIRC. Sir, over to you, sir.
Yes. Thank you, Abhishek, sir. A very good evening to one and all. Dignitaries on the screen are WRC Chairman CA Manish Gadia sir, our uh, Vice Chairman CA Dushti ma'am. Today's speaker CA Rajiv Luthia sir will be taking us through the today's session. We are also having our next session speaker Dr. Avinash Poddar sir, past Chairman CA Sanjay Nikam sir, who is very much instrumental for happening of this webinar series. Our past chairman, Jayvan Tandel sir, Madhav Mahashabde sir, and all the dignitaries on the screen, my all committee members and all the attendees, a very warm welcome to all of you. Friends, from today we are having a webinar series on GST on a real estate sector, a comprehensive view, wherein we will be covering all the real estate related intricacies. For that, we have a very eminent speakers for all the 5 days. First day, we are having our CA Rajiv Luthia sir. Second day, we are having CA Bimal Jain sir. On third day, we will be having CA Avinash Poddar sir. Fourth day, we will be having CA Naresh Seth sir. And on the last day, we will be having CA SS Gupta sir. Friends, we will be getting a very good opportunity to learn about the intricacies which are related to the real estate sector, and it's a very important for us because New Mumbai, as said by Abhishek sir, New Mumbai is a real estate sector wherein it's been growing day by day. So friends, get ready for the learning and wish you all a very happy learning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sanjay sir. As you rightly mentioned about Sanjay Nikam sir, who was the coordinator for entire this webinar series. So we thankful to Sanjay Nikam sir. Friends, now I invite CA Manish Gadia sir, Chairman WIRC, also is an expert in GST, who himself conducted more than 600 seminar and webinars across all India. So Manish sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Abhishek, for inviting me, and I thank Navi Mumbai branch for giving me this opportunity to interact with all of you. As Abhishek has said, the GST is always close to my heart, and not only heart, my stomach also, you can say. Roji roti wahi hai. So it's really great that Navi Mumbai branch has organized a webinar on GST on real estate. Real estate from day one is always a very tough subject to understand, whether it is GST, whether it is stamp duty, whether it is RERA, whatever related to GST, RERA, related to real estate is always tough to understand. And to have an entire series on GST on real estate is really a great thing. At WIRC also, as far as this year is concerned, we have already published 4 publications on GST this year, starting with mutuality concept under GST. Then yesterday we launched 3 different publications. One is intermediary and principal and agent concept. Second is invoicing and QRMP. And third is manufacturing and job work under GST. So these 4 publications we have published. And a team of chartered accountant headed by Rajiv, Luthia, Vikram Mehta and Jinesh Shah is working on this publication. So for another publication, we are going to publish in this month or maybe first week of August, we are going to publish for another publication. And Avinash sir has also promised that he will also give one publication to WIRC, which we will publish in next month. So in all, 9 publications are going to come on GST. So really great, and Navi Mumbai is doing great work. So I hope under the leadership of Sanjay Bhujwal, it will continue to do so. Apart from that, I will say only a couple of initiatives what WIRC is doing. That 24th July, we are starting a series that a CEO speak, a journey from articleship to CEO. A CA can also become a CEO. That is what we are going to discuss in that. It will be a fireside chat. And the first panelist, first CEO, who is going to share his experience on this platform will be none other than Keki Mistry. So it will be available live 10 to 11 a.m. It's absolutely free. But you really want to achieve something in your life, you should join for this program. Again, 24th evening, we are starting a series on capital market, where all the luminaries, or you can say who's who of capital market will be there. You name it, that person will be panelist, will be speaker in that. And in that series will be special address, will be Dr. Bhagwat Karad, who is Minister of State in Finance Ministry. Recently has been appointed, is going to address us. So tune in for this program, this 2 program on 24th July. So thank you very much. Over to you, Abhishek.
Thank you very much, Manish sir. As you rightly mentioned, and we can see you that in spite of you are traveling, you are able to attend this session. So thank you very much. So now I request,
Abhishek,
yes sir.
before going to session, I request
Yes,
Drushti ma'am to say a few words, please.
yes.
Yes, thank you very much. And I would not like to take too much of your time. But one more initiative that I just thought I will put up to you, that is about the standards and auditing series that we are going to start end of this month. I'm sure it will be a great training, it will be like training sessions for the CA firms. And do take advantage of that. We are going to cover all the standards, and we are going to have senior good faculties to take all these sessions. So that will be really great for the members. Another thing is, now for all the programs, we have created a nice index headwise, so that if you want to watch any particular subject, lecture on any particular subject, you can go into the action and look at that program. So these are the 2 things that I want to say. And the capital market, and just one additional thing about the capital market series, we have kept the fees really very, very low for this program. We even have a live trading session on one of the days of this program. That is the first time that we are having a live trading session in this kind of a program. So you can earn while you are learning. So that's a great opportunity for all the members. And the fees are kept very low. So just a request that please do generously contribute to CAPF while you're paying the fee for this program. Please try and see if you can put in some money into CAPF. That's the whole idea of keeping it at a very subsidized rate. So that's it from my side, and that's it. Over to you again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam. As you rightly mentioned about CABF, that is the need of the hour, and ICI is doing very good during this pandemic. So, on behalf of ICI and WIRC and Navi Mumbai branch, we request all the members to kindly contribute towards the CABF fund, which is the need of the hour. Thank you once again. So, now I request our Secretary CA Harshal Ajmara to kindly give a thanks to our chairman and vice chairperson to join our webinar series. Over to you, CA Harshal Ajmera, sir.
So at the outset, I would like to thank CA Manish Ji Gadia and Drushti Madam to join our this series on GST and taking out time while traveling. So we got to know just that you are traveling to airport. So we really thank you for taking time for us and giving us valuable insights like how ICI is doing on GST part and coming out with the new initiatives. And I personally like a story of from an articleship to becoming a CEO. That's a very nice and attractive thing for me, like especially for young CA, like how can they think like how CA and what CA can do. So a very thankful note from Navi Mumbai branch sir and also to the Drushti madam. Thank you very much sir and madam.
Thank you. Thank you, Harshal sir. Manish sir, in addition to the articleship from to CEO, we also want to know about the articleship from WRC chairman from you also in that webinar. Thank you very much, Manish sir. Friends, now we are moving forward towards this special webinar series. So we are having our respected beloved past chairman CA Sanjay Nikam sir, who is the MOC and the coordinator for this 5 days webinar series. So now I am handing over this session to CA Sanjay Nikam sir. Sir, over to you, sir. Sir, unmute करिए.
Sanjay sir, where are you?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Yeah.
I kept myself muted because big dignitaries were talking, so small and humble person should keep his mouth shut. So now you have given me opportunity to say something. I appreciate that. Avinash Poddar sir, Rajiv Luthia sir, our past chairman Shanbag sir, Shetty sir, Jayant Tandal sir, Mahashabda sir, Sanjay Bhujbal sir, thank you very much for giving opportunity to talk here with these dignitaries to sit along with them on this dais. Thank you very much, Navi Mumbai branch, for coming up with such an creative and effective idea to have a detailed seminar on the industry. And we all know the real estate industry is very much important for the economy, and Navi Mumbai chartered accountants are very much connected directly or indirectly with this industry. Friends, it is our privilege and honor that whoever speaker we pointed out, they wholeheartedly supported us and accepted our invitation to share their experience and knowledge with us. Friends, let me give the credit or recognize the efforts of our seniors. Like Avinash Poddar sir was with me. I put up one idea with him and he accepted this, and I gave him the detail of the syllabus. Though he is very humble, he is not taking the credit, but I owe him a lot for giving me guidance, and he only guided me to pull in the speakers. Rajiv Luthia sir, he was always here with Navi Mumbai, and whenever we needed, you always accepted our invitation and shared your experience and knowledge with us. Friends, without taking much of your time, as our past chairman, our present chairman Sanjay Bhujbal sir has already elaborated, there is a list of giant and eminent speakers going to attend these webinars, and they are going to share their expertise and knowledge with us. So it is going to be a feast of knowledge for everyone. So we are kick-starting this series with the one and only Rajiv Luthia sir, eminent and highly acclaimed, distinguished speaker. You must have heard him at so many forums, but for this time he is part of our series, and we have got opportunity to start the seminar with him. So this is our privilege. I'll request my co-panelist Harshal Ajmera sir to introduce this speaker, today's speaker, latest speaker to the audience. I wish everyone happy learning. Take the charge, Harshal, and introduce the speaker.
Thank you very much, sir. Rajiv Jaychandji Luthia, he has qualified as a chartered accountant in the year 1987, and he is practicing since then under the firm name of R.J. Luthia and Associates. Apart from CA, he has completed his DISA, which is given by ICAI, and he has also qualified as LLB from Mumbai University in the year 2005. So his core practice area and specialization is in the field of service tax and GST. Apart from this, he has delivered multiple sessions, seminars, or written columns across the various organizations or forums like WIRC, BCAS, newsletter for WIRC, Chamber for Tax Consultants. He has written various topics, taken various webinars. He has also authored various publications for ICAI, BCS on the service tax and GST topic. He was the co-opted member for the indirect tax committee of Central Council of ICAI in the year 2010, 2012, and 2017. He is currently the advisor to the indirect tax committee of the Chamber of Tax Consultants. So with this brief introduction, I request Rajiv Luthia sir to take over the session.
Good evening. Shall I share the screen, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
In between, sir, we have joined by our past chairman A.M. Shetty, sir. Shetty, sir, namaste. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. Can you view the screen now? Is it on?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir, very much.
Fine. Yeah. Respected Chairman of WRC Manish Gadia sir and Vice Chairperson Drishti Desai madam, Chairman of NAVI Mumbai branch Sanjay Bhujbal sir and his entire team, my co-faculty of the program, this webinar series, Dr. Avinash Poddar ji, and for NAVI Mumbai, I can name so many persons. For years together, I have been invited at NAVI Mumbai. So Sanjay Nikam ji, who is coordinator for this entire program, and he's been interacting with people almost a week's time. There are a lot of other senior people like E.A. Patil sir, Mohan Kebde ji, Ujjwal Landge, Samir Gawli ji, Rahul Gokhale, Sri Kumar Nair, Mahashabde ji, Ashok Shetty sir, J.D. Adhyapak, Satish Sandbag, and so on. I think the entire seminar time will go on if I name, but if I miss anybody, my apology. But for me, NAVI Mumbai is as good as my own town, and it's always a pleasure sharing. And it's on various occasions I had opportunity to address at NAVI Mumbai and share my thought. At the outset, I would like to say, and first I'll compliment the branch, especially Sanjay Nikam sir, for structuring this program so nicely. Of course, Avinash Poddar sir is an instrumental. That is what Sanjay Nikam has stated in his opening remark. Very well structured from pin to pen of the construction industry. He has incorporated in this 5 days webinar, which is about 10 hours time with selected speakers. Friend, NAVI Mumbai is concerned, what 25 years back it was maybe really a jungle but green. Now it is a concrete jungle. So construction industry is concerned for NAVI Mumbai is a core sector, lot of development, and it's also a core area of practice for the chartered accountants. So construction industry is very, very important to NAVI Mumbai. That's one part. And secondly, our chairman WRC has also stated that a construction industry from day one, the indirect tax is concerned, be it VAT or maybe service tax and now GST. Lots of not only amendments, writs and the litigations. and a lot of clarifications from government trying to clarify, but every time it turns out to be other way around. But my job today is to the topics which has been allotted to me in my 2 hours time is a constitutional aspect and a legal history, disputes under works contract in past, levy and valuation disputes under service tax. This perhaps be the history, but it will be very important for the participants to know that, because if they are handling the GST matter, they should be aware about the provisions and how the matters have been traveled to the higher forum and what are the outcome. That will definitely help them in handling the GST assignment. And further, today I have also been asked to cover levy and taxability of outward supply by the builder. So their works contract portion is not being given. Of course, very vast subject within the time I have been asked to cover. I have prepared my presentation. I have tried to avoid the overlapping because there are other dignitaries who have also been going to speak on a different aspect of construction industry. But kindly excuse me if there is some sort of a little bit of overlapping to that extent. I'll be taking you through the provisions also, the court decisions also, and some of the issues live which we are facing on this thing, and including the constitutional history of this thing. With this, let us proceed on this part of it. This is the coverage of the day for me. First is the constitutional aspects. Subject being wide, I have tried to summarize in a brief to the extent. During my speech, I will be giving exhaustive explanation to the extent possible. So the very first is works contract, constitutional litigation, and the legal history of that. The foremost thing is that all of us are aware works contract is a transaction where service and goods component both are involved. It's a combination of both. And as regards service tax is concerned, it was in 1994, it was introduced, service tax was notified. Over a period, services were being notified and were brought into the coverage. But prior to introduction of the service tax, the tax was only on the manufacturing and the sale of the goods. So that was the excise as well as the VAT, that is the indirect tax part. Now, the only thing that, as a matter of fact, so there was a sales tax as well as excise. The question came up before the court whether the transaction of works contract is liable to VAT or no, when the transaction is involved that of a construction, which is more of a works contract transaction. Now here, the most important is the decision of Gannon and Dunkerley of Madras High Court. This
Sir, your sound got muted, sir. Kindly unmute yourself, sir. Rajiv, sir.
Yeah, sorry. Am I audible now? Hello?
Yeah, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, my apology. Okay. So the disputes or the litigation is started with way back. This was the first landmark case when we talk about the works contract. It was a Gannon and Dunkerley, and that is of Madras High Court. Later on, it has traveled to Supreme Court. First is the issue involved. This was vis-a-vis VAT, and there was a Madras General Sales Tax Act 1939 was there. At that relevant point of time in this particular case, the department tried to levy collect a VAT or sales tax those days on a transaction or involving that of a construction where the material component as well as service component both are involved. So tax was sought to be recovered, and in the guise that there is an entry 48 in the list 2 of the Schedule 7 of that time the Government of India Act 1935. So this is pre-independent act, much before the Constitution of India. The tax was sought to be recovered by the Madras state government under Madras General Sales Tax Act 1939. Now, the case, very interesting this case is, but I have taken briefly what are the arguments and what it was being held, the crux of this thing. The court held that there is no transaction of sale of good in entire the contract or the transaction. Hence, the provision of the statute which is authorizing imposition of tax is ultra vires, because the levy was always on the sale of goods, and there is no element of sale of goods because the contract is that of construction. That is what court has held. And how to derive the value of meaning of sale of good, the honorable court has stated that it has to be, the analogy has to be drawn and the value has to the meaning has to be arrived at as it is appearing in entry 48 of the Indian Sale of Good Act 1930. So there has to be chattel being transferred in a form chattel only, and that is what. But when it happens to construction contract, what has happened? You use cement, steel, or various other products. Ultimately, you give a civil structure, or as the case may be. So the property is concerned, it doesn't get passed on in a same form, and that's why it will not be treated as sale. That is what the Honorable High Court has held in this particular case. Now, hence the court has Madras High Court has struck down the levy. Ultimately thereafter, the state government has gone against this decision in the Honorable Supreme Court. Now, works contract is basically when it has when matter has traveled to Supreme Court in the same case. This is a landmark decision of Supreme Court of 1958, reported in 9 STC. The very observation of Supreme Court is, in case of a works contract, this is very important. The dominant intention of the contract is the execution of work, and which is a service. So the more important dominant intention theory was also being exploited and been articulated here, and rather been relied upon by the Supreme Court whenever there is a transactions of the works contract, and there is no element of sale of goods as per the Sale of Goods Act. That is what the first important observation. The contract is also indivisible contract, and therefore it cannot be vivisected or broken for the purpose of carving out the value, and there is no such provision in the law. So VAT on sale of goods cannot be levied on such kind of transaction, and therefore the state government has no powers under the Constitution to tax the goods portion in the works contract. That was being held by the Honorable Supreme Court when it was being challenged in the case of Gannon Dankali by the state of Madras. This was a landmark judgment. Over a period thereafter, the Constitution was amended, and it was very important, was the 46th of amendment of the Constitution, thereby Article 366, 29A, subclause B, and which got amended effective from 2nd February 1983. And the entry was inserted here, and that is tax on sale or purchase of goods includes a tax on transfer of property in goods, whether as a goods or in some other form. This is very important. This entry was specifically to give powers to the state to levy the tax on the goods component in the transaction of the works contract transaction, and thereby invoke in the execution of works contract. That is what the entry. So this was a landmark amendment, 46th amendment to the Constitution. Similarly, there was a very other important amendment made by the CST Act, and that is effective from 13th of May 2005. So you can see the history. The Supreme Court Gannon Dankali was 1958 case, the Constitution 1983, and in 2005 we have CST Act relevant section 2G subclause 2, and which defines the term sale, and where the amendment comes in, or crops in rather, it includes transfer of property in goods, whether as good as in the same form or other form, involved in the execution of works contract. So it's almost a 50 years time, or you can say more than 45 years time, the works contract trying to understand and invoking the levy, the amendments and the process through which the law is concerned evolving, or the amendments are taking place. Secondly, the term works contract was also been defined under 2JA of the CST Act in the year 2005. And more important here, it was a movable as well as immovable property, both were covered. I'll not read the entire definition, but the important crux only that I will start, spell out, or rather present during my presentation, considering the time at my disposal. I have about 56 plus slides to be covered. Now, with this, the state got power to levy the tax on the component of goods involved in the works contract transaction, and that was sales tax. Later on, it turned out to be VAT. But when it comes to service tax, we have a selected approach of service tax was introduced by India in 1994 until the negative regime was brought in, and that is effective from July 2012. So almost for 18 years, we have a selective approach where each and every category, in the sense over a period, were being notified from time to time by the government. One such category was works contract service category, and which was notified from 1st of June 2007, because in the old regime, that is a pre-negative regime, each and every category had a definition, what was being covered within that, and there was a definition of taxable services. Over a period, the term service was being defined in 2012. So here, the 1st June 2007, under the service tax, the works contract transaction was sought to be covered for levy of the service tax transactions here. Now, the definition of works contract, I'll not reiterate everything. I'm taking you through the constitutional legal aspect. That's why at the cost of some, the definition being bit vast, and so I'll not read it. But crux of that, the term works contract is being defined for the purpose of service tax, and which is very important is there is two elements of it. One was a transfer of property in goods involved in the execution of contract. There has to be that transaction, and which is leviable to tax as a sale of goods. So there has to be presence of transfer of property in goods, which is leviable to sales tax at that point of time. This was first, or VAT. And secondly, such contract, not all the contracts were covered. Only selected contracts were covered, and these were the 5 contracts: erectioning, commissioning, construction, commercial construction or completion, finishing, and installation, commissioning. These were the kind of services which were the contract should be, or turnkey projects. These were the type of transactions which were being covered in the definition of works contract at relevant point of time for the levy of service tax. The next part thereafter was the works contract under negative regime, that is from effective from 1st of July 2012 onwards. We have a negative regime where we have term 65 B44, which defines the services, and we have a definition of works contract which was there in 65 B54. The most important part here is, in the pre-negative regime, only 5 type of transaction of works contract were liable to service tax, which we have seen in the earlier slide. When it goes to the negative regime, when service tax was under negative regime, it covered over and above immovable property. It also covered movable property, which was not there hitherto. Rest of the part is fine, that there has to be transfer of property in the goods, but and then they have stated the contract should be of construction, erection, etc., etc., and alteration of any movable or immovable property. In erstwhile provision, there was on immovable property, but here it was movable, was also brought to the within the definition or within the purview of the works contract transaction. And so the further, there is a declared service under the negative regime, and specifically clause H of section 66E has an entry called service portion involved in the execution. So now we have a VAT to be levied on the goods portion and service tax to be levied on service portion. But it took so many years for government to invoke the levy successfully until the matters have been traveled up to the highest level or highest court. We have determination value rules also. So this was some brief about the history of the works contract transactions until the now we have GST, of course, but in the old regime, the last 50 years works. Of course, there are many cases on that. I'll not able to discuss each and every cases, but this gives a brief background on that part of it. With this,
sir,
now,
sir, just a second, sir.
A second, sir. Sir, what has happened? Can you view your screen? There is your video is pinned. I think it is enlarged, but PPT is in small form. So our viewers are not in position to read the PPT properly.
Sir, PPT is getting in the right hand corner only, and your view is getting a full screen.
One second.
No, but I am able to read the complete PPT.
Yeah, I'm also able to, but we got some queries from members, and they sent some photographs also.
No, even I can see this.
So no, everybody on the panelists are able to see, but on the attendees line, they are not able to see.
One second. Now.
Sir, can you just go on to the standard mode?
1 minute. One second, sir. Hello. Bhavesh, sir, agreement has not kicked the technical issue. Please 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
1 second. Because
And,
now,
Rajiv sir, in case if we need time, we can extend the session by 15 to 20 minutes. No worries.
yeah, 1 second. I just called 1 minute. 1 minute. Is
Yes, sir.
1 second. You look on PPT. You can talk also. Sanjay ji, my you are not able to view, no? That is what you use.
Hello. See, most of the screen is covered by the sir's video, and PPT is compressed in one small window. So some of the members are not in position to read the PPT.
Yeah, got it, sir. Just give me a moment.
Yeah.
That PPT is showing in the right hand side corner only.
Yeah, got it, sir. 1 second.
Yeah, 1 minute is doing.
Yeah.
This help desk here.
Better on.
Huh?
Any days.
Can I, Sanjay sir, can I give you my any desk?
I don't have that technical abilities.
Abhishek,
can you get it done? Acha, sir, have you put your video on Spotlight?
1 minute.
See, some of the members are saying we are able to see properly, and some are not able to see.
Sir, Sanjay ji, technical thoda हमारे लिए भी difficult है. I don't mind telling you the.
Sir, we can continue, sir. We can continue.
No, many people can't see. Then if you want, I don't mind sharing any disk.
Rajiv ji. Now
sir.
Participants are saying that they are able to see. I think we should continue.
We should continue, sir. Most of the people are viewing properly, so we can continue, sir.
Oh, sir. Thank you very much. My apology for those who are.
No, sir. It is fault of technology, not yours, sir.
Please make it full screen now.
Yes, 1 second. Full screen. 1 second. 1 second, sir. The mode and screen the full. Stop it. Mamta ka or only? 1 second, sir. 1 second. There is one.
Abhishek, can you?
I got one guidance from the expert, one of our member viewer. What he said that if you click on the PPT, it is getting enlarged.
Double click on the PPT.
Double click on the PPT, it is getting enlarged.
Double click on.
So try that also. To viewers, I request try from your side also. We are just short of time, so we can continue now.
Enlarge form. Double click on PPT. ऐसे नहीं. Double click. Full screen है ना? Full screen.
हाँ दर्शन बोल.
Otherwise, sir, you can press F5.
F5.
Yes, it is going. Yes.
1 second. Now just ask participants whether they can.
So, sir, all are saying it's fine now.
It's fine.
Yeah, now it's fine.
Now it is okay, sir?
Yes, sir. You can go ahead.
Okay. Sorry for inconvenience. Yeah, sorry. So with this, we were on that legal history. Now we have reached up to that negative regime of the service tax. But now the VAT is concerned and service tax both have passed through the test of constitutionality in the works contract. I was been asked to take you through the legal aspects and the constitutional challenges for the works contract transactions. Related to the GST issues of works contract, it has been allotted to other faculty. So my co-faculty will be taking you through those portion. I think Bimal Jain sir tomorrow is going to take through the works contract under GST. Now, few challenges about the construction in the constitutional side that also have been asked to take you through. Friends, for the service tax regime, construction was brought to tax from 10th of September 2004. To start with, it was commercial construction. Later on 16th June 2005, it was residential construction was also been brought to the service tax net. But a major change came in the service tax was effective from 1st of July 2010. And that is where the builders were brought into the tax net as far as the service tax is concerned. Now, how the coverage has been increased over a period of time. As regarding on 16th June, when construction of complex was brought to the tax, there was a limited coverage because the term was residential complex was also been defined for the purpose of statute, and only those premises or buildings were brought to the tax which were having more than 12 residential unit and a common area. So if your unit was less than 12, then it was outside the coverage or definition of residential complex, and there is no taxability in spite of this provision which came on 16th June 2005. Now, whether builder was liable or no, for that there are many circulars or the matters which have kept on traveling at different level, whether the construction service provided by the builder is a works contract service or construction service. That also was a challenge, and whether that is also a point of dispute. And thereby very important decisions of Honorable Supreme Court we must read for that. And that was in the case of Larsen and Toubro, decided in 2015. This was vis-a-vis service tax. Now, more important, here in this particular matter, the Honorable Supreme Court has specifically stated that works contract is a separate species of a contract which is altogether distinct from the contract of the service simpliciter. Very important point. In the works contract, there has to be a transaction involved goods and service. There cannot be service simpliciter transaction. So there are many such services which are being notified in the selective approach by the government. To name a few, the 5 names given by, which is referred in the decision, was erecting, commissioning, commercial construction, residential construction, repairs, maintenance, technical testing. These are the 5 services which are being notified from time to time in the service tax regime. Now, all these 5 services, Honorable Supreme Court stated that if there is an element of goods involved while rendering these services, that will partake the character of works contract, and these 5 service never, they are to be interpreted as only service simpliciter transactions. Service simpliciter. That means there is no element of goods whatsoever in this particular transaction. That is what the Honorable Court has stated. The said section would not refer to composite works contract. Very important decision of Honorable Supreme Court. Thereby, the works contract prior to 1st of June 2007 is not liable to tax. Very important, I will say that suppose you are a builder and if you have given a contract to a contractor for construction which is inclusive of material, the moment he is doing say plastering work or any such kind of work which is related to construction where he himself is supplying labor as well as a material, although there is a category called commercial construction, residential construction, way back notified in 2002 and 2004 and 2005. But as per the Supreme Court decision of Larsen and Toubro, that will be taxable only effective from 1st of June 2007 when works contract category was notified. Till then, it was not liable to tax. Under those category, only service simpliciter transactions were liable for tax. That was Supreme Court in this decision of Larsen and Toubro. Another very important observation of Honorable Supreme Court here in these cases, it has been stated, drawn attention by Supreme Court that Honorable Finance Minister, while presenting a budget for 2007, that is Finance Bill 2007, intended to cover within the taxation net, that is a tax on a service component of the composite transaction. So although there are various other services which we have seen in the earlier slide with various other exemptions and notifications within that, but still the works contract service transaction was never intended to brought into the tax unless the finance minister rolled out the same in Finance Bill 2007 effective from 1st June 2007. And therefore the court says that works contract is not taxable prior to 1st of June 2007. This is a landmark decision also in the relevant vis-a-vis service tax for works contract. Then one important decision, and which is also of the Supreme Court, but which was vis-a-vis a sales tax, and that is K. Raheja development. And this decision has created a lot of litigation. Of course, The decision was more in sales tax, but it has created a lot of litigation in the service tax regime. Now, mind well, this typical contract of K. Raheja, which was in the Karnataka state, where the builder there used to be like we have in Mumbai and Navi Mumbai, you purchase a flat or office, there will be agreement with the builder. Unlike this kind of transaction, in this particular case, there were two agreements when the flats were being sold. There was one agreement between the buyer and the landowner who was giving indivisible right in the land to buyer. And there was a second agreement between buyer and the builder who will construct the building on the same as per the local municipal plan. And thereby the Honorable Court has held that activity undertaken by builder in that scenario of construction of a building on behalf of prospective buyer, because the contract was such that indivisible share of the land was purchased by the buyer from the landowner, and thereafter the wordings of the contracts were such that the contract was awarded to the builder to construct the building thereon as per the municipal plan. And therefore, the Honorable Court in this case has stated that it's nothing but a construction contract and for the deferred payment. And when it is with material, it is works contract and not a sale simplicity transaction. Mind well, very important, this type of transaction we have not seen happening at least in Mumbai and Navi Mumbai or maybe in Maharashtra state. So this decision is concerned, although the government, there are a lot of litigation happen and still they are pending also, but the facts of the case is completely different when you are dealing in the cases where litigations are going on in the Maharashtra state at least. So there was two agreements here. In our case, always we have found there is a one agreement. Now, based on that, government kept on issuing circulars also. So one very important is circular is of 2006. At that point, CBEC has, relying upon the decision, has clarified that estate builders are covered under the definition of service provided for construction of complex, which is absolutely incorrect circular. Because that decision was vis-a-vis VAT in a peculiar circumstances, and this circular is giving vanilla classification, the estate builders are covered. In fact, estate builders were never covered up to 1st of July 2010. That we'll see in the subsequent slide. The same CBIC in 2004, when levied the tax on the builders, White Circular number 80 of 2004 has already stated that it is only the contractor who is liable to pay tax under construction and not the builder. If the builder himself hires the contractor, then the contractor will be paying tax, that is service tax. And if the builder is making payment of salary to employee, etc., then there is no question of a service tax being levied under the construction. That was clarified way back by circular number 80 of 2004, followed by many letters thereafter, which I have referred over here. This is very, very important because this is the genesis of tax, indirect tax specifically on the construction industry or real estate sector. The builder promoter undertaking construction work on his own are not liable. This is in 2007, the Master Circular number 96/7 of 2007, where CBEC has clarified, and thereby they removed or withdrawn the old circulars of 2006, which I have given the reference here, stating that builder will not be liable to tax under construction category unless and until those deeming fiction was introduced from 1st of July 2010. Earlier in erstwhile provisions, it was not liable. So this is how the battle goes on in service tax. So in service tax, the category for builder, the construction service was notified in 2004. There were about 5 to 6 circulars about the taxability. They were rolled out and thereafter withdrawn. And it is and then in 2007, the circular clarifies that builders are not liable. Now, with the very important decisions of the court vis-a-vis service tax, which is very relevant to the builder, and that is of Guwahati High Court in the case of Magus Construction. Now, in this particular case, the department sought to recover service tax from the builder and stating that when you are selling the flat, you are liable to service tax on the service portion. That was an allegation. And the Honorable Guwahati High Court stated that builder is in a business of constructing and selling the flat. He is not into the provision of any services, neither he is in the business of selling any goods. Further, the buyer who is making the payment to the builder is neither for service nor for goods. but what you want is a immobile property. Of course, the mode or the mechanism is concerned, you book the flat during construction phase, and it takes some time over a period, and the possession has been given. That is a mechanism in which this industry is working. But intention is never to avail the services or never to purchase the goods, but the intention is always to purchase immobile property, and Guwahati High Court is right. And this decision government has never contested further and has become law of the land at that point of time, 2008 decision of Guwahati High Court. Now, with this battle on, the government is concerned, which is very important, that it was agreed of the government to recover the taxes, indirect tax on this construction transaction. I have used the word grid specifically for the reason that I recollect about 2 decades back in the Maharashtra state, the rate of stamp duty was 10% for residential unit. Commercial 10%, residential 12%, 10%. Now, at that point of time, the government thought of the 10% is too high, and the common man find it very difficult to purchase a house. It's a dream come true. And to support the lower class people or middle class people, they reduced the stamp duty from 10% to 5%. So maybe around 2 decades back, it was 10%, has come down to 5%. Recently also we have scheme. So this was just to support not only the middle class or lower class, or also to support the construction industry. Of course, the revenue used to go to state government. Stamp duty is a state subject. Now, if that being the case, the indirect tax is concerned. On the goods part is concerned, the builder is always using various materials, cement, steel, or sanitary ware, as the case may be. Most of that items are concerned bearing excise duty is being paid. VAT is also being paid, because only organized players by and large are dealing in this business. It is not possible to have these kind of transactions without payment of taxes on most occasions. We don't talk about sand, but you talk about steel, cement, sanitary wares, electrical goods, hardware, the consumption by the builder. On most occasions, excise and VAT is already been paid. So government is getting the revenue out of it fully, and there is no set-off available. Now, it is further in greed of recovering more taxes. The VAT provisions was trying to be invoked, and amendment has been made. The matter has been traveled to Mumbai High Court also in that case. And similar way, the service tax also era, they have tinkered. And in 2010, the amendment was made in the definition of construction service by inserting this explanation, and thereby it was through deeming provision, the service tax builder was brought to the tax net. And this is very important. The builder was brought to the tax net under service tax from 1st July 2010 by inserting the deeming provision by way of explanation to the taxable service. And this particular amendment was to reverse the decision of a Guwahati High Court, which has settled the matter about the levy of service taxes concerned. Now, the matter, this was challenged by the Builders Association. Various other writs were also being filed across India. But let us discuss about Bombay High Court in the case of MCHI, very landmark decision, where it was argued because it was deeming fiction, which was there in section 505. The arguments were the construction activity is an activity which is rendered on the land. And the Honorable High Court stated that although it is rendered on the land, but it does not take tax on the land. One of the ground of argument, it is a tax on land. The Honorable High Court said, no, there is no tax on the land. Secondly, the charge is only on the rendering of service. See, the courts are there to interpret the law. And if the law is concerned, is having deeming fiction, and through deeming fiction, levy can be invoked. And thereby this kind of the decision, this was a very landmark decision for upholding the levy of service tax on the builders in the case of MCHI. And legislature has expanded the notion of taxable service by incorporating deeming fiction in a relevant section 6505. That is what the Honorable High Court has stated. And this has paved out the way for the government to recover the service tax from the builder on the construction activity effective from 1st of July 2000, followed by various notifications. So constitutional validity was tested and upheld by Honorable Mumbai High Court. This matter is pending before Supreme Court, but it is now almost a decade has happened. And I'm sure by and large everybody has paid tax on this matter. This was a history of a real estate sector in the VAT regime and the service tax regime. We have seen there are many decisions, but I have selected the few for the understanding of the participants. Most of them were the landmark decisions, so that the conceptual clearance you can get it. Now onwards, what we are discussing is the provisions related to supply, outward supply, made applicable to the construction industry in the GST regime properly. Now, friends, let me tell you that the works contract transaction is not allotted to me, or I am not going to cover in my talk under the GST, because my co-faculty Bimal Jain sir is going to take it up tomorrow. So up till now, I have taken up construction and works contract both, constitutional aspect, legal aspect. But now when I am discussing, it is only construction under the GST, and GST from 1st of July 2017, it was rolled out. I have been asked to take you through the latest provision. And latest provision means the more important, the major change came from 1st of April 2019. And that is what we are going to discuss going forward in the remaining slide in next 1 hour or so, which has been allotted. I'll be also taking few issues during my talk on this topic. Now, friends, all of are aware the very important aspect of GST is there has to be supply, otherwise there cannot be tax. And the term supply is defined in section 7. We have 3 schedules to it, 1, 2, and 3. And 2 is for classification, more important. And so first of all, supply is concerned, there has to be supply, and then comes classification. So schedule 2 contains one entry number 5 subclause B, and which is ready and which is very much relevant for our today's talk, which talks about construction of a complex structure, building, etc., etc. And that will become to be classified as a service for the purpose of GST, only when the builder receives some portion of consideration before the completion certificate. If the entire consideration is received after completion of certificate, this transaction gets transferred to schedule number 3 of section 7, and it is transaction of immobile property. That is what, so builders will be, what their builder is rendering is a service, and this is a condition. If builder receives consideration or even part of the consideration before completion certificate or before first occupation certificate, then the transaction becomes taxable or it is liable to tax. That is what the entire, Next. The rates of GST, when it was 1st of July 2017, the rate was 18%. I have written here effective rate. Effective rate and rate is different. Mind well, if you refer the schedule of rate, it is mentioned as 18%. But here I have mentioned effective rate because construction of a complex, in that value of land is included. So this is applicable only for the builders, because builder, when he is selling flat or unit, the value of land consideration for the same is also been recovered and charged. Only in that scenario, the actual rate is 18%, but you get a deduction for the land in the valuation, and that's why effective levy I have written 12%. So to start with, that was from 1st of July. Now here, the more important point is concerned, there is a paragraph number 2 of this notification number 11 or city rate notification dated 28 June. This is very, very important, where although this notification is vis-a-vis a rate notification under the central tax, the very important portion of this is 4 lines which are highlighted in a bold. The value of such transfer of land or undivided share of land, as the case may be, in such supply shall be deemed to be 1/3 of the total amount charged. See, in the construction, everything has been failed. Wherever government tried to recover the tax, matter has traveled to the court, and that court has decided in the favor of assessee. But that's why government has invoked deeming fiction. For levy service tax also, there was a deeming fiction. Under the VAT also, it was consideration and kind, Sumer Builder, Mumbai case. There also concept of deeming fiction. And here also now, in the GST, for the land deduction, there is a deeming fiction found place in this notification number 11. Now, that's why the value of land, now if you buy a premises, say in New Mumbai, the rate is suppose 15,000 is rate of a house or the residential unit you are buying. The builder as concerned, he has to recover a GST after considering 1/3 as a value of land by way of a deeming fiction in view of this notification 11. The question comes here is, The value of land differs across India. GST is a central law. Of course, we have a two-tier system, state and center both, being a federal system, but it is applicable from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. The rates of land differs. Why Kashmir? From within Mumbai only, Walkeshwar to Thane or Badlapur, the rates are different for the premises. But the thumb rule is concerned for the purpose of payment of GST. The deeming fiction says that value of land will be 1/3 of the total consideration. Now, by and large, the construction cost is concerned, it remains same. If you look at within Mumbai, whether you construct a property in Walkeshwar or Mulund or Matunga or Borivali, the construction cost will not change much by and large, subject to the amenities. But it may change 5%, 10%. But if you look at the price of the land, the major factor, in Mulund we have rate in the range of 20,000, 25,000 is the rate. But Walkeshwar, it may be a lakh rupee or 80,000, whatever. So that major difference is not the construction cost, but it is on account of a land. And am I supposed to mandatorily required to follow this deeming fiction deduction of 1/3? Because obviously buying or land agreement, or if you see from builder over there, and you can prove with the documentary evidence. I'll just give one example. Suppose, sorry, Sanjay Nikam sir is constructing two buildings. One building is constructing in Walkeshwar and another building is constructing in Thane. Now, mind well, for Thane, he has offered a sale price of say rupees 15,000 per square feet to a buyer. And for Walkeshwar, it is 1 lakh rupees per square feet. Now, friends, what has happened is he has a document for purchase of land. And say he has purchased the land of Thane, which is say 3,000 rupees per square feet. He has purchased the land. And for Walkeshwar, he has purchased that maybe a 50,000 rupees per square feet. Okay. I am taking hypothetical example. Sanjay sir knows the actual rate. I am not builder, so I am not aware of. Now, question comes is that whenever you have to levy the GST, what this notification says that GST rate what you have to levy is 12%, effective 18%. 18% after 1/3 deductions you claim. Now for Thane, 20,000 rate is that 1/3 means you will roughly 14,000 kind of the taxable value. But when it comes to Walkeshwar, the taxable value comes to around 66,000 when 1 lakh rupees is the rate. Mind well, land cost for Sanjay sir for Walkeshwar was 50,000 per square feet. He has a documentary evidence and he has an agreement available also with him and he can prove in the court of law. Still, he will not able to get a deduction of 50,000 or whether he will, it means he has, what is my question is whether he is mandatorily required to take only 1/3 deduction and pay tax on 2/3 portion as per this notification is a specific question. If that being the case, GST is levied on the land component also. If I have no choice or if Sanjay sir has no choice, then what? Of course, he is not going to pay from his pocket, but ultimate customer. But then it is absolutely incorrect to the extent it is a tax levied on the immovable property, which is neither goods nor service. Land is getting transferred and you are by deeming fiction allotting 33% value. This is one of the interesting issue, whether it is 1/3 is mandatory. In support of that, let us see and analyze the provisions. Now, what is the provision? Valuation has been given in section 15 of the CGST Act. And in 15, we have subclause 5, which says that notwithstanding, it starts with not obstant clause, notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 1 to subsection 4, the value of such supplies as may be notified by the government on the recommendation of the council shall be determined in such manner as may be prescribed. So section 15(5) of the CGST Act empowers the government to notify or how to determine the value in case of the certain transactions. Okay. And it is notwithstanding whatever stated in 1 to 4. So this is very, very important. Now this notification number 11 of 2017, which is a rate notification, a general understanding of a businessman as well as the professional is rate notification only notifies the rate of the transaction, whether it is goods or service. But can it also say what is the value of transaction? Can it provide for that? That what is the, how to determine the value? For that, let us see by deeming fiction here. This particular notification, if you read, it starts with that notification is issued in exercise of powers which are given under various sections. And here there is a reference to section number 9, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 3, and 4. That is the RCM, reverse charge mechanism. Section 11.1, and more important, section 15.5 also, which I have highlighted in a red color. So this notification is, although a rate notification, it is issued under a subsection 15 of 5 also. There are 4 sections given, section 16.1 also, as well as 148. So this is being issued. Valuation part is concerned, that is also been taken care of. So there is a sanctity available to this particular notification, that it is in lieu of the powers given to the government under 15.5, they can notify, and they has notified on this part of it by deeming fiction. So that is a valuation to that extent. Now let us understand that whether can government do that. So I draw your attention to very important decision of Honorable Supreme Court in the case of Century Manufacturing Company. Now this is a vis-a-vis transaction related to customs and excise duties on those regime. But analogy can be drawn to it with this central excise decision. Now here the question comes is that whether the tariff value in old excise regime, we had a tariff value fixed by the government in power conferred under subsection 2 of section 3 of Excise Act is ultra vires. In the sense, there is a valuation mechanism has been given, and how to value, there is a valuation provision. But in spite of that, there is a section 3 subclause 2 which says that government can notify a tariff for certain product. Now what section 3 subclause 2 reads is, the government may by notification in official gazette fix for the purpose of levying the duty a tariff value of any article enumerated either specially or under general heading in the first schedule as chargeable with the duty and ad valorem, and may alter any tariff value for the time being in force. So this was the section precisely. Subclause 2. What Supreme Court has held in this case of a Century, while we undoubtedly say that Section 3.2 confers the power. So powers have been given to the government. Section 3 subclause 2. In our case also powers have been given in section 15 subclause 5. We are on the deeming fiction of land. On the capital, on the central government to fix the tariff value for goods at its pleasure, unrestricted to the terms of section 4, which is evaluation. We do not say that this can be done at the whim and a caprice of the government. So more important, Supreme Court has stated that you can't do at your whims and fancies. Very important. This discretion has to be exercised. Government has got power, but it has to be exercised by government in accordance to the crucial guidelines that is inbuilt into the statute and also illustrated by the manner in which determination is provided in the relevant section 4. We have section 15. In case of goods with which are concerned, the basis on which tariff value has been fixed by government was explained before the High Court. And the Supreme Court further stated that the tariff value has been notified under section 3.2 for a valid reason, and the German account having a nexus to the value of the goods, and the High Court erred in accepting the SS's plea. In this case, High Court has stated that you cannot determine the value by deeming fiction. You have to go to the mechanism which is given under section 4 in the Central Excise Act, and thereby they struck down the levy in that, but which Supreme Court upheld. And here central government has undoubted power to enhance the rate, and the validity of the notification which was challenged in this case, having such effect, is not open to challenge even if it is done under the guise of fixing a tariff. This was a case under the Supreme Court in this case of a Century, which we have discussed just now. Manufacturing company. How it will be relevant in our case? Very important is in our case. Let me finish this slide and then I will connect it with our construction, because this is also another decision on the same, but with a different decision. So we should understand the analogy properly. This is vis-a-vis Supreme Court decision vis-a-vis customs, and this was in the case of Wipro Limited. Now, what was the issue here is concerned? For the purpose of assessment of the value for the purpose of customs duty, there are provisions in the section 14. Now here, when the actual charges are paid, which are available or ascertainable in case of the importer, as the case may be, so which include cost of loading, unloading, handling charges, etc., which are already available, then that has to be added in the value of imported goods for the purpose of levy. The provision says that on the objective of the government is, by introducing this provision under custom, is sometimes it is not possible to find out or identify or access the correct value of overhead charges, like for the importing the goods. The charges nature I have given here. So therefore, there is a power given in the custom that additional 1% of the value can be treated as a valuation for these charges, and for arriving at duty, the value has to be arrived by adding those 1%. And now the Honorable Supreme Court stated that when a person is already having entire data and detail relating to his overhead charges, etc., which he has incurred, or incidental charges which he has incurred while importing the goods, you cannot go and add 1% of that, because he has already demonstrated and proved, so which is article violation to the Article 14 of the Constitution, and therefore it has struck down to that extent in custom. So now rule making authority definitely has a power to make a rule, but such power should be exercised making the rule which are consistent with the scheme of the Act and not repugnant to the main provision. You could understand the difference here. Such provision would be valid, and 1% free on board value in determining handling charges could be justified only in those cases where actual cost is not ascertainable. I hope all of you are getting what I am trying to say. We have analogy in customs and excise. Now, in our case, I was discussing the deeming fiction of value of land. And I have given the example of Mr. Sanjay Nikam's two projects, one at Walkeshwar, one at Thane. And he has got an agreement of purchase also. He can submit to the department, he can demonstrate and prove that my cost of FSI or land is 50,000 rupees per square feet, and I am selling at 1 lakh rupees. So why the hell I should get deduction only of 1/3 and not 50,000 per se on actual basis? Is it compulsory? Now that is where these two decisions are concerned. Can we take a support? Now Wipro decision is concerned. Fine, Wipro decision is one decision where there is an option available in the law कि when you cannot demonstrate, then only 1% can be levied. As against in the earlier decision of Century is concerned, there was no question of option. It was a power given in the law by the government to the officers for levy of excise, the tariff value to be determined. In our case, when we are discussing GST on the construction, the powers have been given in section 15 subclause 5 of the CGST Act, and by virtue of that power 15(5), the notification 11 has been issued under rate, and thereby the deeming fiction is granted. So in my view, even if it is being challenged in the court of law, perhaps in my view, there is a possibility the court will say that the particular notification 11, whereby deeming fiction said that 1/3 value is concerned, it is within the powers of the government, and you can't say it's ultra wires, the notification. And although your actual value is more than 33%, but your deduction will be restricted to 33% only, which is being notified in the law. I hope things are clear to that extent on the deeming fiction of the value. Now, with this, the rate of notification for the construction is concerned. The notification 11 further provides the rate for the various different type of construction which are carried out by the builder under various schemes. Okay, I will not take the works contract portion, so only selected portion. Here the rate is reduced rate is applicable. I have always written effective rate. So please, those who are referring my slides, this particular presentation, I will be forwarding it to Sanjay Nikam sir after end of the presentation. If at all you want to circulate, you can circulate, no issue. But this, while referring to, please read effective rate. I have never written the rate. The rate is 12%. I am talking about effective rate, and which is after the 1/3 deduction of land. So here some of the schemes were there, Jawaharlal Nehru scheme or in situ development scheme, I think, which are more of a self-explanatory. So I will not reiterate on that. of it. Then there's a single residential unit was there, which is a bungalow, rather a low-cost housing up to the carpet area of 60 square meters, and in that there is affordable housing or maybe a housing scheme of a state government. And the last is a supply bay of a construction, repair, renovation, alteration of civil structure under the beneficiary-led individual house. So the rates were 8% effective rate those days in July 2007 on certain scheme, except this was 12% supply by. These are only rate, I think, which you can also refer through the relevant notification. Now, the GST when rolled out, this was the position. In about a period of 21 months, the still government thought that the provisions under GST, which they have rolled out with 8%, 12%, etc., will be going to create a lot of litigation, disinteresting. In order to simplify, they further made amendment effective from 1st of April 2019, while various notifications they have issued on 29th of March. About 5 notifications came on that day for 2019. And this is what is the current scenario of GST on the builders are concerned after 1st of April 2019. Now, what the provision now says, which is in force. First of all, any of your project is concerned, you have to identify the project as you have registered for RERA. So it may be possible there's a complex. Within the complex, there are 5 buildings. You may have registered these 5 as a one RERA project, then it becomes project. You may register 5 different projects, then it becomes different project. Your taxability is concerned, it is qua project. It is up to you how to register the same in RERA. So that is your choice. So now our classification or our taxability is based on how we have taken registration in RERA for each project, then started filtering. So any of your project will be either it will be REP project or double REP project. It will get classified in either of these 2 things only at any point of time. Now here within the REP project also, you have affordable residential unit apartments, other than affordable residential apartment and commercial apartment. Mind well, real estate project is REP. All the projects will be REP, but within that, if you fulfill certain parameter, it becomes double REP project. That's how this is. The definition is there in the second page. I'll not read out the entire definition, but in nutshell, more important, double REP notification is only those projects as per RERA where commercial portion which is constructed is not more than 15%. So that means if your entire project is residential, you are double REP. But if you have combination of commercial and residence both, you find out how much carpet area is for commercial, and if that is equal to or less than 15%, still it is got RREP project, else it will fall into REP. There are this classification is very, very important because you have a different rate of taxes for RREP and REP in certain scenarios. Okay, so it is possible that even if you have commercial premises within a project, still it can partake the character of RREP subject to that limit of 15% of the area. All this area is a RERA area, carpet area. Now, within that, there is a very important definition in this notification, and that is affordable residential apartment. Now, let me tell you, clarify 1 or 2 things over here. While handling these assignments related to construction and giving the views to many of the clients and your professional peers, I found that there is a misunderstanding amongst the professionals. The affordable apartment is concerned. Mind well, this notification has never defined affordable projects. The projects are not affordable. It is the units within the projects. That's why they have defined the term affordable residential apartment. First of all, affordable is at a lower rate of taxation. So commercial cannot be affordable because it is outside the purview. The word itself is affordable residential. And within that, so you can have a building. Say you have 10 floor building. I think I request everyone to mute. There is some disturbance. Hello. Sanjay sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Yeah, my apology. Yeah.
Sir, may I request you one thing, sir?
Yes, sir.
Your face is not visible. Some members wish to see your face also.
I have no problem that this presentation is more important than
Yeah, present. Yeah, accept.
सर सर अभी मेरा शादी भी हो गया, बच्चे का भी शादी हो गया, अभी क्या फेस देखेंगे सर?
राजीव सर, लैपटॉप का जो फ्लैप को थोड़ा एडजस्ट करिए, बस लैपटॉप का फ्लैप, बस या दैट इज गुड.
अच्छा, ओके.
थैंक यू.
Request from senior members, sir, you can't avoid that.
अरे I'll definitely show my face at the end. ये क्या है, सेटिंग में टेक्निकली आई एम नॉट वेरी एक्सपर्ट सर. सो ये क्या प्रेजेंटेशन ही नहीं दिखाई देगा तो अगेन प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा. सो I kindly pardon me. Presentation right now is important. Toward the end I will definitely. I am sorry. Still I love to be on a physical. थोड़े बूढ़े लोग हैं ना तो ये टेक्नोलॉजी समझ में नहीं आ रहा है.
सर नहीं सर. सर at least क्या physical interaction नहीं तो virtual interaction तो होने दो सर. Let us see your face also.
Yeah, I'll try. That's for the time being, allow me please so that I can continue. So within the building, within the project, you will have, suppose a building, you register as a one RERA, ground floor is fully shops, first floor is office, and then you have residence from unit, second floor onwards till say 10th floor building. Now units are also of a different size, possibly. So suppose some units are say 500 square feet, 800 square feet, 1000 square feet. It can be different. So within that building, what will happen? First, you'll have to identify whether it is REP or RREP, because your building has got commercial and residence both. So first find out the area. So say entire area is say 10,000 square feet, and you found out that your shops and offices are only 1400 square feet. It is less than 1500 or equal to 1500. That means you are double REP. That is first requirement. So you have come to the first classification, double REP. Thereafter, what happened? You have 8400 or 8600 square feet of residence, 1400 square feet of commercial. Now let us talk about the residence of 8600 square feet. Now some of the units are less than 60 square meter, some are more than 60 square meters. छोटा बड़ा size का flat हो सकता है. You have to go by municipal plan, and not that Mr. Sanjay Nikam has purchased the whole floor और उसका 3000 square feet हो गया. So you are not to count 3000 square feet. You have to count how many units are there. 1, 2, 3, 4. It may be purchased by same person. It is not relevant. You have to go as per the plan. So here in this affordable unit is concerned, the explanation to the notification specifically says that the first of all, in this affordable, it is not a project, but it is a unit. Secondly, this notification is enforced from 1st of April. It is applicable only to the new projects which are started after 1st April 2019. That is one. Or in case of ongoing projects, the projects which are already going on, which are not completed till 31st of March 19, not in a specified scheme. We have seen in an earlier slide that there are say Jawaharlal Nehru scheme, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, weaker section scheme, so and so. So first of all, if you are in that scheme, then this particular notification is not applicable to you. So yours should be ongoing project other than scheme, where the new rate of GST, either 1% or 5% on the residential is accepted or opted by you. It is not compulsory. It is you to opt for it, because this is one-time transactions. Your project will be either altogether new, then there is no question of option. It is compulsion. But when it is an ongoing project and not falling in scheme, you have to take a opt for option. Juna rate mein chalna hai, so this notification is no relevance to you. But if you want to go to new, then you have to opt for it. I will tell you one more thing in this. Having opted, then they have stated that within the cities of metro, affordable unit will be only those units whose unit area is 60 square meter or less. So up to 60 square meter, which is roughly to 780 something of that kind carpet area. This is all carpet mind well, square feet. And value does not more than 45 lakhs. Perhaps in Mumbai, we will never get 45 lakhs value. We will not able to. Both the conditions are cumulatively you have to fulfill. So 45 lakhs New Bombay, very difficult to have. The area of 6,000, roughly 7-8,000 के कम जिधर रेट है उधर ही हो सकता है. And non-metro cities, it will be instead of 60 square meter, it is 90 square meter. If that being the case, then that will be affordable unit, and affordable units are concerned will be for the purpose of levy of GST. Amount, what is the value? It is the amount charged for the sale. Secondly, cost of the land. So in Mumbai, so we have only one agreement which include value of construction as well as land, or any other charges you recover. So sometimes you recover development charge, you recover electrical installation or clubhouse charge, formation charge, lot of charges you recover, DPC charge, different type nomenclature people give. So all those charges, parking charge, all those will be clubbed together and you have to arrive at the value. This is about the first is affordable part. And when it comes to other than this is one which is not a specified scheme. If you are into the schemes, then you are on the right hand side other box, which is on ongoing project. And in the schemes mentioned in the notification, the left hand side 3 boxes says that you are other than scheme. But when you are in the scheme, then you have to go on this scheme, the other part. And where it says here, if you are falling in these schemes where new reduced rate is opted for. So that means you will have a 2 separate clause to this notification, and which says that, one second, now there is some, yeah. Oh shit, I'm sorry. Oh, I think I have, my apology. Kindly pardon me. Yeah. So ongoing, so where the new rate, reduced rate is opted for, then clause B is the other than the ongoing projects not falling in the scheme, you will go on the A clause. If you are falling in the scheme, you will go to clause B. RREP and REP definition, we have already seen. The various scheme names, I don't think I should repeat the names here. It is already there in the notification, so I would not like to miss it. But Jawaharlal Nehru in situ, beneficiary-led, EWA schemes, or housing which is constructed for the credit-linked subsidy scheme, etc., etc. Different schemes are being there, and that will fall in subclause B. Okay. The more important, which is relevant for you perhaps, will be the last bullet point. And that is a low-cost houses up to a carpet area of 60 square meter per house in an affordable housing project. This is very important. Now, in an affordable housing project, there was a notification of the department dated 30th March 2017. And in that, for each unit is concerned, if it is below 60 square meter, there is a lower rate of GST applicable. That's why you have to find out, do you have such kind of affordable housing units or no? If you have it, the rate of GST will be different, and which I have explained over here with the help of this chart. Now, taxability of these projects are concerned. Ongoing projects. On ongoing projects, let me tell you, there was a form, there was an annexure 10 or something which we were supposed to submit. The deadline was 10th of May 2019. Later on, it was extended by about 15 days. I think up to 27th May 2019 was a date. That declaration, annexure, you have to submit physically to jurisdiction officer if you want to continue with the old rate. But and that, mind well, it is not with qua entity, it was qua project. So if as a builder you have got 7 projects, then for each project you can have a different option, you can go for it. And for every option, you have to file a separate declaration. If you forget to file or you miss out that bus of filing, then by default, you will be covered under the new mechanism. A new mechanism which has come from 1st April, which is 1%, 5% as the case may be. Now, going by this, if you exercise the option for the old scheme and the old rate, and if your project is a residential project, if it is a fully residential project, and within the residential project, you have some of the units which are fulfilling the criteria of affordable unit, that is less than 60 square meter, less than 45 lakhs value, then on that the rate of tax is only 8%. Mind well, I am telling you the rate of tax means effective levy. Actual rate is 12% minus that 1/3 value, that's why. So if you deduct the value then you of land, then it is 12%. Even the gross amount, it is 8%. Now, if it is non-affordable within the building, then you will have to levy a 12% rate. of course, you will be eligible for input tax credit because you are not gone to the new model. New model, that is new provisions or the new schemes after 1st April. Under new scheme, the ITC for residential unit is not there. But in the old law, it is there. So this is rate first. Second, in the old regime, if you are exclusively a commercial project, fully offices are there, then your rate continue to be 12% and you take the ITC. Third is, suppose you have a mixed building. When you have mixed building, the question comes whether it is REP or RREP. Because fully residential, obviously it is RREP. Fully commercial, it cannot be REP, RRP because it is other than that. And when it is mixed, there is a possibility either you will be RREP or REP. RREP means below 1500 square feet, 15% of commercial portion. So suppose your is RREP. That means you have more than 85% for the residence. And within that, then you will have 3 types of units. If it is affordable, you will have 8%. You are non-affordable, it is 12%. And if you are commercial, then it is 12%. But mind well, here you ITC, you will get it. And suppose in that same project, if it is a mixed project, but which is not RREP, that means assume that you are 20% commercial and 80% residential. The moment you have that composition in a building project, then it will not be RREP, but it will be REP. In that case, what will happen? Your affordable 8, non-affordable 12, and commercial 12. So third and fourth box remains the same. Mind well, this is applicable only for those projects which are ongoing project as on 1st of April 2019 and which has opted to pay GST under the old regime. That means not the new notification entries. This is a law. That means you should continue. These were the rate which was prevailing on 31st March 2019 and which continue to be there even after 1st of April 2019. You will get ITC and this you can do per project. Now here more important part is what will happen if you have opted for the new scheme. In the same example, if you have opted for the new scheme, the rate changes. Now, if it is a totally residential project, within that you will have affordable, non-affordable, the rate becomes 1%, 5% respectively. But the biggest stroke is there is no ITC. You will not get input tax credit. That becomes your cost. So your construction cost straight away goes up. That is one part. When it comes to commercial project, fully second box, absolutely no change whatsoever. Because the rate was earlier also 12%. Now also it is 12%. Earlier also you used to get ITC. Now also you are getting ITC. So no change in the second box, which is there on the right hand side. The third box is on the left hand side and which is mixed project. And that is if classified as a RREP. The rate for affordable is only 1%. Non-affordable is 5%. And this last is very, very important, which I have marked in a red color in the third box. Even commercial is at the rate of 5%. See, this is where I have found many people, builders or even the consultant makes mistake. Sabhi commercial premises पे 12% का rate नहीं है. People are applying thumb rule of 12% of commercial. No, if your project is double REP and in that within that if you have got shops and offices and you have gone by the new mechanism, that is new then the rate of tax will be only 5%. Clause number 1B I have given reference of notification also. But suppose you are not double REP, you are only REP, then the last way instead of 5%, it will come to 12%. This is very, very, very important, which you have to keep back of the mind because 7% is a difference and which is very hefty amount as regarding the immobile property pricing is concerned. I hope this is clear to that extent. Now, here ongoing projects are also very important. What is meant by ongoing projects? And that has been categorically and properly been defined in the notification by laying down various conditions. You builder has to fulfill all the conditions cumulatively. Unless he fulfill all, he will not able to classify properly. So ongoing project means those whose commencement certificate must have been issued before March 19 and that has to be certified by the either architect, engineer or licensed surveyor that the builder has started construction of the project before March 19. Now, what is meant by construction starting? Because you can take certificate from architect saying that कौन जाके देखा है? So that's why they have stated what is meant by starting of construction. So construction shall be deemed to have been started. That is third bullet point. When if earthwork for site preparation of project has been completed and excavation for foundation has started. Mind well, only you purchase the land and just level the site. That will not be treated as construction started unless you have a site preparation for the project has been completed and excavation has started before 31st March. And for that, you need to obtain the certificate. All these issues, I'm sure, friends, will come up after 2-3 years when the assessments will start. At that point of time, you will be required to produce these certificates. So if you are having the builder clients and they opted for ongoing projects and this kind of transactions are there, try to have a certificate from concerned licensed surveyor or engineer or architect as the case may be. Next condition is completion certificate or first occupation of the project should not have been received before 31st March. That is obviously if you have received completion, so there is no question. And the next is apartment being constructed have been booked partly or wholly before 31st March. This last condition is very important. Means you have launched the project, you have done a site work, you have also done foundation, and suppose there is no booking whatsoever, okay, then also it will not be deemed to have been started. Mind well, this is very important. The last condition, what is meant by ongoing project? You have got commencement certificate, you have started, done foundation also, so some portion of 5-10% construction is over, that is fine, but still you have not received single booking for that, then it will not be treated as ongoing project. Then compulsorily you will have to opt for the new rate, which is 1% and 5% as the case may be for residential. This is also very important. Now here, what is meant by apartment booking? Because if we have a smart, fertile mind, smart brains in India, they will issue an allotment letter. That will not happen, mind well. Here, for the purpose of proving that you have booked the premises, you have to show your bank account where you have received the money, at least one installment from any of the prospective buyer for sale of any of the unit, supported by allotment letter for the flat as well as the sale agreement. Now, mind well, the moment you receive the money for booking, there are separate accounts you have to maintain for RERA purpose, separate bank account. So that money has to go to that RERA bank account only. नहीं तो क्या लोन का भी booking amount दिखा देंगे, वैसे नहीं होगा. You will have to show it, transfer, put it and deposit in RERA account. So you have got to, it will be properly channelized, it will be trapped. One will not able to escape or violate any of the condition, very properly and absolutely thoroughly been defined in the particular this notification. So this is what is meant by the booking. The next is one-time option is concerned. This is only one-time option because either your project is altogether newly starting, there is no option after 1st April if you are starting the project, but it is only for ongoing project. You may opt or you may not, it is one time. And the deadline was given of 10th May to file that annexure number 4. It was one pager, qua each project I have explained. And if you don't file this intimation till 10th May, then it is deemed that the builder has choose for the new rate. This date of 10th May was extended by some 15 days. I don't recollect the exact date, but it was around 27th May was the last date. My apology, I don't recollect the exact date, but it was about 15 to 17 days. Okay, it was exercise. You can exercise that. Now, condition for the new rate. There are other conditions also there. The moment you are opting for the new rate, which is a present scenario, your total tax payment of GST has to be by cash only. You cannot make payment by ITC, utilization of ITC. This is very stringent condition. For the reason that there may be possibility that your unutilized ITC portion remains. Now, this condition says that you will have to make the payment by cash. I think this is too harsh because some person has got a genuine accumulated credit and he will never get the refunds of ITC because refund is eligible only in certain condition, zero rated, XCZ, inverted duty, etc., etc. Now, in this person will never get refund being a builder and he will not able to utilize, although it is a generally rightly availed by him. He has availed but can't utilize, but it is a stringent condition. And this notification came on 29th of March and you have no time left out for thinking also because it was from 1st April it was effective. So I think to that extent this condition of utilization is concerned, they could have put the condition that you cannot avail, but you cannot utilize is too harsh. Secondly, you cannot take post 1st April 19. So availment is already stopped, but utilization was also stopped. However, in case of REP project, you are entitled for proportionate credit because you have a commercial component within that where you are paying at the rate of 12%. Then you are eligible to avail and utilize to that extent as per the formula. We will not discuss the formula. It is only the proportionate ITC you will be going to get it. Now, the developer is concerned, redevelopment project, actually it has been allotted to other faculty. But in redevelopment project, I have only one thing to say because this is clarified here in this notification. It has been stated that whenever the landowner is giving his development right to the builder for the development, and the developer is allotting a units, flats or offices to the landowner, then in that case, developer will be paying tax GST on that portion of the property which is allotted. And further, the landowner is also entitled to take ITC, which builder has charged, provided the landowner sells that particular unit on or before receiving of the OC or the first occupation certificate by the builder. If he sells, suppose I as a landowner sells the land to say Sanjay Nikam sir, and Nikam sir has given me 10 flat in lieu of that as a consideration. I don't want 10 flats, so I will sell some of them. And if I sell some of them before OC, on that I am entitled to the credit. That is what the law says. Indirectly, the transaction becomes taxable. That is what government is trying to say. Of course, that is subject matter of litigation, whether it is a transaction of immole property or it is a transaction of a service. Because I am not a builder, I am a landowner, and it is a right in the property which Sanjay Nikam sir has given to be under during construction stage. What I am selling is a right in property. Whether right in a property is an immole property, that is need to be tested. In the old regime, it was tested. There are quite a few decisions, Cheda housing, etc. In that it has been held that right in the property is nothing but immole property. We have decision of a DLF also in the service tax regime by the Chandigarh tribunal, and where but the definition of service under GST is very, very wide, and it says anything other than goods, and that is what is the challenge to prove that whether it is immole property or goods, and that time only will tell. But yes, it is a subject matter of a challenge or litigation to that extent. Now, transition procedure you have to follow to that extent, and when you opt for the scheme, and input tax credit. This is where I found 100 out of 100 persons are making mistake. Input tax credit not availed shall be reported in GSTR 3B on monthly ineligible. What I am trying to say, this condition says that if in the new regime, when you are not eligible for ITC, okay, what normally people do, they don't avail in the books also and written also, okay, and there is no question of disclosure. But this notification specifically says that whatever is the amount of ineligible, you have to avail in 3B and then say it is ineligible. Instead of that, we are not doing. Of course, there is no loss of revenue, but perhaps we are not complying to the conditions which has been laid down by the government in this particular notification. Now, another conditions to that, you want that benefit of 1% and 5%. It is subject to various conditions because the rates have been reduced. Our erstwhile rate was say 12%, 8% as the case may be, is now come down to 1% and 5% for the residential portion. So in that case, one of the condition is that whatever input and input services which are being used by the builder, out of the total input and input service, 80% of the value of such services must be purchased or procured by that builder from the registered supplier, registered GST supplier. So now in that case, the issue may come. There are one or two issues which are being involved. I'll be taking simultaneously. Sanjay sir, it is we are around 5 minutes short to 7. I think I will take about 10 to 12 minutes more, sir. So up to 7:15 we'll able to close, sir.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
So now in that case, 80%. Now here, how to calculate the 80%? In that notification also, they have given the example. But there are few critical points which I would like to say. For calculating 80%, it has clarified that do not consider or include the value of TDR. So development right which you are purchasing, long-term lease right is there, FSI is there, electricity is there, high-speed diesel, motor spirit, natural gas. These are all your purchases you are not to include for calculating the total input or input service for that 80% condition. Then secondly, whatever services are there on which you have paid taxes under reverse charge mechanism, say transport, security, etc. That is also to be treated as purchase from registered person only, because you are going to pay, although they are not registered, you are going to pay the tax under RCM. And then calculation for this has to be done on yearly basis. So financial year or part thereof. You have to do on monthly, but at the end of the year, you have to find out whether it is 80%. It is not qua entire project, it is qua year. So every year I have to calculate this year, suppose 1 crore is my total input and input service. Minimum 80 lakhs should be from the registered. Now, in case of there is a shortfall, suppose out of 1 crore rupees of total input service, I have only 70 lakhs rupees coming from input service which are registered. Then on to the extent of shortfall, which is 10 lakh in this case, I am duty bound or required by this notification to pay the tax at the rate of 18% on that shortfall. Mind well, under reverse charge. And that is not stand-weightable, means you don't get credit for the same, it becomes your cost. So that is first. So rate is 18%. Now here one exception is carved out. Okay, suppose you have in the entire year purchased whatever amount for cement you purchase, each and every invoice of your cement purchase should be from registered dealer. So even 100 rupees of cement you have purchased from unregistered dealer, whether you fulfill 80% or not, that 100 rupees cover you have to pay 28% GST under reverse charge. So in nutshell, the builder has to purchase cement from registered dealer only. If you can't, then you have to pay 28% under reverse charge, which is your cost, and thereby there is no ITC. And for others, certain item not to be included, which have been mentioned, the rest of the item you calculate 80% should be from the registered. Otherwise, you have to pay at the rate of 18% under reverse charge on the differential amount up to 80%. Now here few examples have been also been given in the in this particular notification, and this is an example which I have picked up as it is from the notification. There are a few issues which I would like to discuss also on this. How to calculate 80%? Now different items have been given, sand, cement, etc. Percentage of the value is also been given. Now here cement is concerned, it is marked as red color. Now purchase from RD, the question here is no. So it is not purchased from, normally I have not seen in any case cements are being purchased from unregistered dealer. Except you purchase any retail 1 or 2 bags here and there. That too also in rare case. Normally builder will never purchase cement from the unregistered dealer. Nowadays all truckload comes from the corporate directly. But in this example it has been given. So on this cement portion, I have explained that 28% tax you have to pay, forget about that 80%, etc. Straight you have to pay 28%. Now my question here is whether RCM is applicable on cement only to the tune of shortfall 80%? No. The notification is very clear. Even if your 99% of the purchases are from registered dealer, wherever cement is concerned, you have to pay tax under reverse charge if single rupee is purchased from unregistered dealer. This is first. Second, there are various expenses which is not tabled here. Suppose I have, as a builder, I am a proprietary concern, I am a builder, I have borrowed a loan from the various vendors or the lenders, and I have paid interest on the debt. Now borrowing is a service, mind well. Although we are not paying tax on the same because there is an exemption, but lending and borrowing is a service. So interest on loan is also to be counted, and individual lenders are concerned, they are not registered, and say I have paid substantial amount of interest, which is a consideration for the service. Then there is a second thing is construction water, which I procure from various water suppliers. Now that water is concerned, there is no tax on the same. It's a zero. So they are not registered by and large because it bears zero rate of tax. Third, there may be any other such kind of exempt supplies are there. So whether those are to be calculated for the purpose of computing unregistered dealer of 80%, whenever your project is new, suppose, and if there is a less booking, there is a possibility of substantial amount being borrowed and substantial interest cost will be there. And that will be too unjust for a department to levy tax, otherwise interest on loan. Because why this 80% condition is placed? So that to discourage the builder from buying various goods and the services from unregistered people. So we can understand sand, bricks, or so many other rubles or other products are there that government should get GST on the same. But on interest on loan, which otherwise also doesn't have any rate of tax, so why to calculate or include the same? The plain reading of the notification does not exclude it. And I don't think it is the intention of the government is there to recover tax, because इस पे tax ही नहीं लगता है, वो आदमी number क्यों लेगा lender? Or if his business of only lending, there is no GST applicable. So why I should pay at the rate of 18%? It is only adding to the cost of the builder. So of course there is no clear answer in the notification, but going by the intention of the statute, perhaps the government should have drafted this notification in such a way by saying that wherever the rate of tax is 0, that is also to be excluded. Because in any case, there is no intention to evade the tax or avoid the tax in any case. But unfortunately, that is not there. So this may pause a litigation over a period of time in these kind of issues. The next is the transitional procedures, which are to be in respect of ongoing projects are concerned. You need to follow these transition procedures are concerned whenever it is ongoing project is there. So for project level analysis, you will have to do it. Now, if you are a builder having 3, 2, 5, 10 projects are going on, there was no requirement in the statute to maintain separate ITC account for each project prior to this 2019 notification. So your GST was there from 2017, almost 21 months. There was no provision. Everything with you are eligible for ITC, and ITC nexus is not required. You can very well utilize of ITC of one project for the output liability of other project. There is no bar. Now, with this particular amendment and notification, which is rolled out in 2019 March, there is a mandatory requirement that the builder is required to maintain ITC credit account if he has exercised to continue with the old rate, there is 8-12% rate, then he will have to maintain a separate accounts for ITC qua each project. So if you have 3 projects, project 1, 2, 3, so you'll have to maintain 3 ITC accounts separately qua each project, which itself will be a challenge. Of course, there will be common expenditure for office, that is fine. But direct necessity, you'll have to make 3 accounts. That's one. Now the because there is a requirement of a reversal. Reversal of ITC is there, and that you have to do it before September 2019 return you have filed. This reversal provision was notified in this notification of 2019 March 1 notification, and it is applicable only for those who had ongoing projects and which could not be completed before 31st March 19 but get completed after 31st March 19 for the simple reason prior to March 19 there was no bar on ITC. Post March 2019 we have seen that you are not entitled to take ITC, or you are not even entitled to utilize the ITC, of course, except the commercial projects. So ITC availed till 31st March 2019, but it is attributable to the construction of a residential portion in case of a REP project, and it is attributable to the construction of a residential and commercial portion in case of a double REP project, which has time of supply after 1st April 19 shall be liable to be determined. They have given the formula, and based on that formula you have to do the reversal. Now question comes is that you will have 2 or 3 issues perhaps. Suppose your project is over before 31st March 2019, you got your occupation certificate. Mind well, this reversal formula which is given in the notification of March 19 is not at all applicable. You have to reverse your ITC as per Rule 42 and 43 of the CGST Act, which was reasonably simple formula based on the taxable turnover and the exempt turnover, because you must have sold some of the unit after OC and some of the unit before the OC, and that is based on the value you have to do on year basis. But the problem comes only when you have ongoing projects which could not complete before 31st March and you have opted to continue with the old rate. Then you have a problem of a proportionate reversal of ITC, because you have to calculate that as per the formula given in this notification, and which will be a bit cumbersome job because you are not entitled to take any new RTC after 1st of April 19, and for old also you will have to have a reversal applicability. So only those projects will have a difficult time. If above ITC for any reason is turning out to be positive, that means you out of the ITC availed till 31st March, some portion is attributable to supply to be made after 1st of April 19, wherein no ITC is eligible, then it needs to be reversed. Very unfortunate that you have kept on availing and utilizing, but based on that formula, if the result comes positive, that means you have availed more than what you are eligible. Then to that extent, you will have to reverse the same, and that formula has to be applied, and you need to make the payment to the government in the prescribed manner for this. If above ITC is negative, that means you have short availed ITC. Then you are not to do anything. That means what will happen is you have availed short. Then such short ITC to be availed from the ITC of 1920, that is for second year, for subsequent year, that is for financial 1920, whatever ITC is there, to the extent of shortfall which you can avail and which otherwise is concerned is going in contradiction to the notification, but there is a provision in the notification, and that's why you can avail to that extent. Now here the provision related to recalculation of the ITC, which is already claimed and utilized, is constitutionally valid. Or this is my last slide, and I'm explaining this is a very important issue. Assume that your building is started in 2017 August, when GST was rolled out in July, you started, and your building is not completed on 31st March 2019, as on today not completed. And the option is concerned, you have exercised to go with the old option. You don't want new option of 1%, 5%, because you are losing the ITC. Now there are two, if you continue the old option, the 8%, 12%, and you keep availing ITC, there is absolutely no problem. Now the next issue comes is, suppose you have opted for the new method, that is 1%, 5% option. Then going forward from 1st of April 2019, you have restrictions on the ITC. And also law requires you, that is notification requires you to recalculate the ITC, which you have already calculated, and now you have to do recalculation qua project. Now mind well, can law or any notification impose upon a condition that please recalculate the ITC for past year qua project, and to the extent of excess availment, reverse it? Mind well, for 17-18, we have already availed and we have filed our returns. Everything is over. Still, you have to recalculate whether it is constitutionally valid, because unnecessary person will be caused with the hardship. Once you are out, it's a right bestowed upon you. Of course, it's a condition right, but the condition laid down at relevant point of time, you have fulfilled. So having fulfilled the condition, can government take it back later on? That is the one point time only will tell us. Let us wait for this part of it, because in my view, this is a backstabbing to that extent. Of course, the entire thing is for construction. We can always say that it was attempt to recover the tax on a transaction which is actually neither goods nor services. But still, it is a greed of the government to that extent to levy tax. Let me tell you, if you want revenue, you can straight away restore the stamp duty rate to 10%, 8%, whatever. To that extent, it may go to state level, fine, but at least it is not this GST, VAT or service tax as the case may be. Otherwise, you will nothing more than litigation you can expect with such kind of complication. Let me tell you honestly, still the maximum show cause notices appeal litigation is being faced by the construction industry, and in time to come also, we will have same issue, at least for this till this 2019, because after April 19 projects, we have no ITC at least, and rate is also 1%, 5% by and large. So let us hope at least for the going forward till that, at least we may not have much of the litigation, but for old, at least next 5 years, we have full litigation on this for sure. Well, friends, whatever topics being allotted to me within the time frame, I tried my best. I am sorry for overshooting, and you have some technical issues which members might have faced. But I sincere thanks once again to each one of you for and especially the branch for giving me an opportunity to lead the discussion today, Sajid. Thank you very much. Over to Sanjay Nikam sir. As per your time decorum, if any questions on the topic, I am available. I leave it to you, sir, whatever. But sincere thanks to branch for giving me opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It was really a pleasant experience and very informative session delivered by you. So there are multiple questions, and we hope so that we were expecting such questions.
Yeah.
And we know you can guide us and you can answer our queries. So before going for questions from Q&A section, I'll request all the panelists, if someone from the panelists if want to ask question directly to the sir, they can ask. Shanbag sir, Shetty sir, Adhyapak sir.
Sanjay sir, only 1 minute.
Yeah.
I don't mind responding to any of the questions. Just let me tell you, there are other topics to other speaker. Your question will be on that topic. Shall I respond to or whatever? I leave it to you, whatever you say, sir, because there are other topics. And if it is something which I have not covered, if you are asking, I don't mind responding. But just I leave it to you on that part.
Sir, you are most welcome to offer your knowledge on any questions.
Fine, sir.
Yeah.
Sanjay, you can go through the questions.
Sir,
questions you I have पढ़ लीजिए.
I'll stop screen, sir.
Yes, please.
Shetty sir, I could not get you. You were talking something.
Saying whatever questions have come, you can just read it for Mr. Rajiv Luthia.
Okay, sir. Sir, there are multiple questions. So I'll go one by one. First question is whether service tax and GST.
Yes, sir. Carry on.
Yeah. Whether service tax and GST of development right is constitutionally valid.
Okay, fine. The straight question is on the constitution part. Service tax on a development right is constitutionally valid. And I think during my process of talk, I have given some brief on it. Am I audible? No, sir. I have removed the graph.
Loud and clear, sir.
Okay. See, the development right is concerned. There is a history to it. I'll repeat at the cost of repetition. I'll take 2 minutes on that. See, in the service tax regime, even pre-negative regime, the department has issued the notices on that front to recover. Now, what is a development right? See, when your transaction of land is there, it is say I am purchasing land from say Sanjay Nikam sir. The land is what? Land is nothing but a bundle of right. The term land is not been defined in the service tax law, neither under the GST law. So you have got a Immovable Property Act, etc. on that part. There are various rights which are attached to the land. Your right of fishing, right of way, right of leasing, right of farming, right of forest, right of development. There can be various rights. Okay. Now, the development is also one of the rights. But what is difference between other rights and this thing? If my land I have given to Sanjay sir for cultivation, the form of the land never changes. You cultivate for 5 years and give it back to me. The land remains the same. If fishing right is there is a pond. You will do fishing. But after pond is mine, land is mine. After 5 years, you will leave. But when it comes to development, my land also get extinguished because some structure is coming up. So then the potential of the land get exhausted. Okay, to that extent. So this is major difference between all the rights which are associated along with the development right. Development right में क्या होता है? Land अपना original जो ये होता है status. Thereafter those once you develop as per the municipal law, beyond that therefore you cannot do anything. Now here it was tested whether development right is a immovable property or what. In the old regime, we have a landmark decision. Of course, it was not vis-a-vis service tax. It was vis-a-vis other statute. Mumbai High Court Chheda Housing decision was there. And that is, another is Fakirchand Gulati decision is also there of Supreme Court. Of course, both are not vis-a-vis the service tax. It was vis-a-vis the other statute. Okay. Now, there the Honorable Mumbai High Court as well as the Supreme Court has stated that development right is nothing but right arising out of the land. मुर्गी होता है ना वो अंडा देती है सर और अंडे में से मुर्गा ही आएगा मुर्गा या मुर्गी whatever what I am trying to say. Of course to that extent अंडा रहता है अंडा is a different product but उसको 5 दिन 15 दिन जो भी लगेगा उसके बाद में मुर्गी आएगा. So what they are trying to say, the right which is coming out from the land is nothing but land only. That is what Mumbai High Court as well as Supreme Court has stated in this Fakirchand Gulati as well as the Chheda Housing cases are concerned. So the matter has also travelled to the tribunal in the case of a DLF in the service tax regime, Chandigarh tribunal decision. And there the honorable tribunal stated that development right, DLF property, famous case of Delhi, and there is no GST service tax on the transfer of development right. That is held by tribunal. Of course, this matter is further challenged by the government in Honorable Supreme Court. So we are awaiting for the decision. Now we are talking about the GST. Sir, having this background, what will happen? If you read the GST law, it is, I will not say it is smartly worded, but it is intentionally worded in such a way to have broad coverage. They have increased the horizon. So they have defined the two terms. What is meant by goods? And then they have defined the term service. And service definition बहुत simple है. Anything other than goods. Okay. So पहले आप goods में अपने आप को classify करो. Of course, दो चीजें उन्होंने बाहर रखा है. Share they have kept outside this thing. That is fine. But once you are not in goods, then rest all is service. तो क्वेश्चन कम्स क्या हो जाता है सर, जो ऑफिस आपकी जो ऑफिस है, जो घर पे आप रहते हैं, वो भी आप बेचते हो ना सर, भले आप बिल्डर नहीं हो, यू आर एक्चुअल यूजर, आप बड़ी ऑफिस ले रहे हो, जूनियर ऑफिस बेच रहे हो, तो दैट इज ऑल्सो सर्विस, माइंड वेल, दैट इज सर्विस अंडर जीएसटी. बट टैक्स क्यों नहीं लगेगा? बिकॉज दैट इज क्लासिफाइड इन शेड्यूल 3 ऑफ सेक्शन 7. अगर शेड्यूल 3 ऑफ सेक्शन 7 में वो एंट्री हटा देंगे तो आपका सेल ऑफ ऑफिस और सेल ऑफ घर के ऊपर भी सर्विस जीएसटी लग सकता है. That is what is the point. So now the definition in GST is very wide, and they have defined. And somebody is asking now whether it is constitutionally valid. So this the entire constitution has given them the power to levy the tax, state and center both, and goods and service. By virtue of then the wisdom, they have defined the term goods and service both. And having this kind of definition, I personally feel that TDR, tax on the TDR is concerned, will be very, very delicate issue and very risky to get decision in your favor that there is no GST applicable on the same in the GST region. Of course, my heart says that tax nahi lagna chahiye, but the mind is not supporting because the law is concerned. See, our world is a frog's world, no sir. Law mein jo likha hai, whether it is right or wrong, logic will not work. Law is supreme to that extent.
Sanjay, unmute yourself. Sanjay ji, please unmute yourself.
Very nicely explained. The second question, sir, in connection with the notification issued on 29th March 2019, Department issued two set of FAQs on 7th May 19 and on 14th May 19. What is the constitutional validity of the FAQs if the matter is in favor of the assessee, RP, residential project?
What I have understood by this question is that the member is asking that in his view, the FAQ given by department he is not convinced, and according to him the notification says something else and FAQ says something else. That is what perhaps is his question, and he want to ask whether FAQ constitutional validity. So first of all, let me tell you that FAQ is a frequently asked questions which has been replied by the government, that is CBIC as the case may be. Now it has no sanctity to the extent when it's not binding upon assessee first of all. It is binding upon the department to some extent, but not to you, and that too also binding the Ratan melting case is there, that even circulars are also not binding if it is contrary to the law. Forget about FAQ. FAQ to ekdam niche ke level pe. Circular is much above that. And notification is a law of the land. Now you are concerned, you are saying that binding. There is no binding whatsoever of the FAQ to the assessee. Even to the department officer is concerned, if they can justify that section says something else, interpretation is something else, then also FAQ is not. I'll give a classic example. Recently only there is a decision of a Madras High Court 2 days back only. What is the case of 7,500 rupees? Kal kya parsu ka decision hai, green, I forgot the name. You just find out the name. Now there is a FAQ. FAQ says that it is for say our housing project, RWA, cooperative society, there is an exemption of 7,500 rupees. Correct? Now the question is posing ki, suppose your maintenance charge is 8,500. Okay, whether tax is required to be paid on entire 8,500 or only on the differential 1,000 rupees? Because exemption says that 7,500 is exempted. Now FAQ says that you are not to pay tax only up to first 7,500. Any amount in excess of 7,500, you will have to pay tax. This is Greenwood Owners Association का decision है. Greenwood Owners Association, Madras High Court, अभी का ही है. Now there is a petition. It was challenged, saying that the wording of the notification say up to rupees 7,500. इसका मतलब ये हो गया, that is what, कि suppose your maintenance charge is 9,000. You have to pay tax only on the 1,500 rupees. अभी सर income tax में up to 2,50,000 there is no tax. Correct? आपका income 2,70,000 हो गया तो बाकी का 20,000 पे टैक्स भरना है. Correct. And now in GST also, this notification, whenever they have used the word up to का मतलब तब तक टैक्स नहीं भरना है, उसके ऊपर के ऊपर भरना है. FAQ says तुमको नीचे से ऊपर पूरे पे भरना है, and FAQ बोलता है 9,000 पे भर डालो. Now the gentleman has asked me कि FAQ valid, तो ये इसका biggest example है ये Greenwood का कि it is challenge, and court has, I will not say struck down, they have given the time and they have for the timing stayed the recovery until the final decision. So in my humble view, FAQ has no single sanctity whatsoever. I'll go one step ahead. Even circular has also no sanctity. If at all you feel that Ratan melting is a decision under income tax, circular which is ultra wires to the act or contrary to the act, it has also no legal sanctity. You have to justify.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. The next question is in case residential project is completed till OC without any booking or without allotting any unit to anybody, what is the tax liability under GST?
I presume that this question is asking post 1st of 90 year ongoing project वगैरह का कोई चक्कर नहीं है. That is what I am asking. I feel so.
Yes.
Okay. Now the gentleman in your case, you said that there is zero sale whatsoever, no booking. Now fine. That means what happened is you are in the business of construction. For whatever reason, you are not able to sell anything. Now you look at the schedule 2 to section 7 of CGST Act entry number 5B, which says that your transaction will be liable to GST and it will be classified as a service, provided if you received consideration partly or fully before the first occupation or a completion certificate. Now in this case, the gentleman says that no booking, यानी कुछ भी पैसा नहीं मिला इसको OC आने तक. So that means now what has happened? The building is ready and so it has partaken the character of immobile property. And now whatever is going to sell is nothing but immobile property because that is fitting into entry number 5 of schedule 3 of section 7 and which will be land and building. So not land, but it is building. So there is no tax. It will be neither goods nor service for the purpose of GST as per schedule 3 of section 7 and कुछ tax नहीं मिलेगा. एक बात है कि इसमें अगर एक कमर्शियल बिल्डिंग है तो उसका आईटीसी भी फुकट जाएगा बिकॉज देयर इज नो आईटीसी. अज्यूम दैट इसको आईटीसी मिला है, उन्होंने लिया है, अवेल किया, यूटिलाइज करने का मौका नहीं मिला है, वो ठीक है, लेकिन सामने करस्पॉन्डिंग उसका पूरा सप्लाई पे टैक्स नहीं है, मींस ही हैज नॉट पेड, द आईटीसी विल बी एंटायरली बी रिवर्सिबल.
Yes, sir. ITC will become cost.
Yeah.
So next is salary is not deductible while calculation 80%. I myself couldn't get this question, sir.
Yeah,
salary is not deductible while calculation 80%.
Yeah, Sanjay sir, I got what he's asking.
Okay.
See, I will try to put, you read the gentleman, I am referring to the one who has asked the question. Sir, that condition of 80% which has been laid down in the notification of March 2029 for the project which are ongoing and new after 1st April, your input and input service should be minimum 80% from the procured from the registered dealer. That is what the condition, except for cement 100% from registered dealer. Correct. Now the gentleman is trying to ask salary is to be included or not included. I think if the person who has asked the question is listening to, if I have not understood, you can please rectify. But I understood that you are trying to ask whether salary is to be included. No. First of all, sir, salary is concerned, it is neither supply of goods nor supply of service. So it is not good nor service. And the definition of 80% condition is there. It is applicable only to input and input services. Salary is employer-employee relationship and which is falling in schedule 3. It is neither goods nor service. So absolutely not to be included.
Yes, I am hopeful that answer is delivered to the person. Next query, sir. To check 80% RCM, do we need to calculate amount paid as accommodation cost under rehabilitation project, initial amount paid to landlord under joint development agreement? If not, what is the treatment of said amount on GST point of view?
See, there are what I am trying to say. He must have accommodation cost means it is a redevelopment of society. Existing member ko you are paying hardship allowance, rental, etc., etc. This is what I feel like. I hope so. This is one thing. Secondly, you state something else also, no, sir? Apart from that, what else is paid?
Initial amount paid to landlord under joint development agreement.
1 minute. Now, in this case, a joint development word is being loosely used by we people. Actually, everything is never been a joint development. You have to see the very important crux of the agreement, whether there is a sharing of risk and reward. If there is no sharing of risk and reward, there cannot be joint development. So I presume that in this case, when you are paying to landlord, it is not consideration for the land or development right, but it is joint development. So joint development rega, so why you are paying to land lord, that I have not understood, because you are both of your partner and jointly developing. So normally in your case, when you are making payment, it is either for development right or purchasing land, in either of these two. So if it is purchasing land, there is no tax. First of all, it is not to be included. But if it is for purchasing of development right, then obviously on that there is a tax. We have just now discussed constitutional validity. So development right, but development right, in that notification they have specifically mentioned that for calculating 80%, you are not to calculate the amount pertaining to development right. So आपने वो development right को 80% का rule नहीं लगेगा whatsoever. That is one part of it. Secondly, hardship allowance जो आप दे रहे हैं, whatever tenant या आपके जो भी members को दे रहे हैं, that is not an input service according to me whatsoever, because this is as per the terms of the agreement. You are demolishing the building and reconstructing it and giving them something more, less, whatever it may be. Now, it is for that they are vacating the building, because you cannot reconstruct unless they vacate. Okay. And as per your terms of contract, now can you say that it is a vacating the premises is a service? I think highly debatable, because we don't want that. See, practically what I'm trying to say, I am a builder and you all people are tenants, suppose. Okay. Unless you vacate, how I'll develop, sir? It is contract is with me. मैं तैयार हूँ बिल्डिंग तोड़ के नया बना के देने के लिए आपके लिए, लेकिन आप उसे हटोगे नहीं तो मैं बनाएगा कैसा? So there is no service. What I want from you is allow me to develop, and that's why I have entered into agreement, and that is only temporary. Of course, I have paid. It is expense for me so that you can relocate something somewhere for those 2, 3, 5 years. जो भी time है. But in my view, that cannot be treated as service. Of course, department can have a different view, but there's a good case to argue that there is no other services we are expecting in that case and should not be included. You are on mute, sir.
Okay. Next question. In case of redevelopment agreement, units allotted to society members before 1st April 19, there is mandatory consideration involved. Whether project is ongoing, when free area is sold by developer after 1st April 2019, and concessional rate benefit can be claimed to the area given to society members.
Sanjay sir, how I have understood this question is that this redevelopment work he has started before March 19, and as per the agreement he has allotted the premises to the member existing in the society, and the consideration was concerned either उसने पैसा लिया या नहीं लिया है, whatever. I mean to say, suppose free में ही दे दिया है. Say all the flats were 500 square feet and he has agreed कि मैं सबको 600 दे दूंगा, perhaps hypothetically, और एक भी रुपया नहीं लिया है, possibly. And जो remaining flat है वो builder is going to sell to the other customers. Suppose I understood the question in this fashion. Okay. Now in that case, the condition is there whether it will fulfill the criteria of ongoing condition. Because one thing was there कि you must have received commencement certificate, you must have started construction. इसमें piling work or the foundation work should have been started. You take certificate. One more condition, there has to be some booking. Okay. And at least you should have received part of the consideration. And what is meant by receipt of consideration? That receiving the money in the bank account. That is what been laid down. Now, here in this example, the consideration is never going to flow in money because builder unse paisa nahi le raha hai from this thing. But the condition is concerned ultimately the consideration booking. There you should have a documentary evidence that I have allotted the flat. ये फ्लैट इसको अलॉट किया, वो अलॉटमेंट लेटर होगा, आपके साथ एग्रीमेंट भी होगा. सेकेंडली यू से दैट इट इज कंसिडरेशन मींस यू आर वेकेटिंग. आपका तो खुद का ही फ्लैट था, आपका राइट था, दैट यू आर सरेंडर्ड इन माय फेवर. See, your flat was 500 square feet, you have surrendered in my favor. That's why I'm giving you 600 square flat extra, because there were some extra TDR available, FSI was available in the property, which I will redevelop and exploit it and sell it out. So I got consideration for these premises. A free word है ना, it is a layman language और हमारा normal लोग use करेंगे in a common parlance. But otherwise legal term में there is nothing free. There is no free lunch, sir. बिल्डर जब भी आपको फ्री देता है, कुछ फ्री नहीं होता है ना, क्योंकि उसमें ऑलरेडी टीडीआर एफएसआई पड़ा है, नहीं तो बिल्डर के क्यों बनाएगा. सो देयर इज नो फ्री. नाउ ओनली थिंग द कंडीशन इज व्हिच इज लेड डाउन इन द नोटिफिकेशन नेवर एनविसेज द सिचुएशन दैट भाई ऐसे ट्रांजैक्शन में मनी बैंक में आएगा ही नहीं, because there is no, but that doesn't mean your project is not ongoing. So in my view, although money is not coming to your bank, the consideration is already there. And the second thing I'll tell you, on that free allotment, what you have used the word free, you are otherwise paying GST on the same, sir. So when you are paying GST on the same, so there is no question that it will be ongoing project and he will get a benefit of reduced rate, 1%, 5%.
Thank you, sir. Next question we are taking, what tax rate is applicable? What tax rate is applicable on forwarding charges collected by builder if he is in 1% GST rate under RREP? 5 rates are given: documentation charges, floor rise, maintenance charges for 1 year in advance, electricity and water installation deposit not refundable, society formation charges. If the tax rate is 1%, can builder collect the same from buyer? These are questions, sir.
Fine. Now, gentlemen, you have stated for those who about 4 to 5 different type of charges. There may be another 100 charges. Okay, you take any name except these 2-3 things which I am telling. Rest any of the thing, my answer will remain same. One is a normally builder collects from you share money also. That share money is being handed over to society at the time of formation. So which is around 500 or 1000 rupees. That is one. The second amount is 1 or 2 years maintenance charge, advance maintenance. And that builder uses only to maintain the building till the society is being formed, and they give the accounts along with the surplus जो बचा है वो भी दे देते हैं, shortfall है तो recover कर लेते हैं. That is second thing, because that is required under the MOFA Act, Maharashtra Ownership Flat Act. There is a section 5 and 6 which requires the builder to do it compulsorily. Apart from these two, what all builder is recovering, it is not compulsory, but it is out of the choice. See, you name it: water deposit, electric deposit, clubhouse, legal charges, society, क्या जो भी नाम देना है और कुछ भी, electric deposit. The gentleman is asking deposit non-refundable. Sir, वो contradictory हो गया. When it is non-refundable, it cannot be deposit. So fine, deposit is always refundable. It cannot be non-refundable. Okay. Now in this case, everything is nothing but consideration of flat. In my this thing, first of all, you tell me, sir, if Sanjay Nikam sir is a builder and we all are buyers, okay, you tell me in layman's language, हम जब संजय जी के पास जाते हैं तो हमारा इंटेंशन क्या है? हमारा इंटेंशन उनसे फ्लैट लेना है, बराबर है. दूसरी बात, संजय जी आप बिजनेस भी फ्लैट बेचने का ही कर रहे हो, यू आर बिल्डर, आप कुछ सर्विस बिजनेस कर, है ना, यू आर नॉट इनटू सोसाइटी मेंटेनेंस और इलेक्ट्रिक का लाइन देना, ये सब आपका काम नहीं है. आपको फ्लैट बेचना है या तो दुकान मकान बेचना है. अभी वो बेचने के लिए आपको उसमें मकान का 4 दीवार नहीं होता है सर, उसमें आप लाइट भी लगा के देंगे, पानी भी देंगे, नहीं तो मकान नहीं होता है ना सर पूरा. So what I am trying to say, there is only one transaction of buying. You are builder selling premise, I am buyer, I want premise. Bas, this is simple transaction. इसमें law भी side है. अभी now the question comes is, there may be possibility some person from the department officer will say that there are more than one transaction. एक तो बिल्डर ने आपको फ्लैट बेचा, ऊपर से लाइट का कनेक्शन दिया. मेरे ख्याल से बिल्डर कनेक्शन दे भी नहीं सकता है. बिल्डर एमएससीबी को पैसा भरता है, एमएससीबी कनेक्शन देता है. बिल्डर कनेक्शन कभी नहीं देता है, बिल्डर उसका फॉर्मेलिटी करता है. वाटर भी बिल्डर अपने घर से नहीं देता है, पाइपलाइन एमएससीबी को या तो जो भी बीएमसी है उसको देगा. सो बिल्डर इज अ कॉन्ड्यूट. ओके, व्हाट एल्स बिल्डर इज. सो इन माय व्यू क्लब हाउस जो है वो भी क्लब हाउस बिल्डर ने पार्ट एंड पार्ट, इट्स एमिनिटीज. And amenity is not open to everybody. It is only to those complex में जो रहने वाले, उसके लिए गार्डन, एमिनिटी, जो भी नाम बना है, रोड, पीड, जो भी लिखा है, तो इट इज अ पार्ट एंड पार्सल ऑफ दिस. मेरे को बताइए, मैंने आपके सोसाइटी में एक भी घर नहीं खरीदा, लेकिन मेरे को स्विमिंग पूल में डुबकी मारने को दे दो. आप नहीं दोगे ना सर, मैं आपको पैसा देने को तैयार हूँ, 15,000 रुपया ले लो आप मेरे से मेंबरशिप, लेकिन नहीं कर सकते, बिकॉज इट इज कंडीशन इज दैट इट इज ओनली फॉर दिस थिंग. So now even if department says that there is other services which actually builder is not into the business, आपका agreement में भी आप ऐसे ही लिखोगे I am in a sale of flat and this is over above facility I am giving you. So there is a one transaction. But suppose extreme view में लिखा है more than transaction है, then also you can classify this as a composite supply. Composite supply is being defined in the GST, which says that there has to be, let me tell you without prejudice, I believe there is only one supply, sir. There is no other supply. ओके आपको संजय जी, आप होटल में जाते हो, खाना खाने जाते हो, तो आपको एसी में भी बिठाता है, अच्छा टेबल कुर्सी सर्विस, तो आपको कितना सर्विस मिलता है? आपको ऐसा है क्या, एसी सर्विस, खाने का सर्विस, ऐसा नहीं होता ना सर, इट्स ओनली रेस्टोरेंट सर्विस, बाकी एवरीथिंग इज अलाइड ना, वो दैट इज ऑब्वियसली इट इज अंडरस्टूड. सो इवन हम लोग आपके नवी मुंबई के सेमिनार में, फुल डे सेमिनार में आप खाना देते हो, तो आप थोड़ी केटरिंग करते हो सर, आपका एजुकेशन प्रोग्राम है, एक ही प्रोग्राम है, उसमें खाना पीना इज अ पार्ट ऑफ इट. इट्स ओके. सो इट्स अ कंपोजिट सप्लाई टू दैट एक्सटेंट. सो बिल्डर भी जो देता है वो एक ही सप्लाई है, लेकिन एक्सट्रीम केस में इसको ये करेंगे तो भी कंपोजिट सप्लाई होगा, उसमें भी फ्लैट का ही रेट लगेगा, इसलिए आपके जो भी चार्जेस है उस पे वो 1 और 5% ही लगेगा, एक्सेप्ट सोसाइटी का मेंटेनेंस चार्ज 2 साल 3 साल का एडवांस लिया, उस पे एक भी पैसा टैक्स नहीं लगेगा, लेकिन उसका सेपरेट अकाउंट रखो, उसका अकाउंट मेंटेन करो और उसका पैसा हैंड ओवर करो, और दूसरा शेयर मनी है जो आपने उसको हैंड ओवर कर देना है, कंपलसरी हैंड ओवर करना. ये दो चीज छोड़ के हर चीज पे आपको पैसा लगेगा टैक्स.
Thank you, sir. You explained it with example, real-time examples. Very good answer, sir. Next question: how GST liability has to be discharged where consideration received in installments basis on the total sales consideration? We have to add GST, or is it inclusive?
See, first of all, the law says that you have to first of all supply पे आपको GST भरना है. And this being indirect tax, incidence is to be borne by the consumer customer. And the invoice, there is a format given, section 30, rule 31, section 31 of the CGST Act lays down that invoice has to be raised. And that format is also been given in the rule, which says that you mention so many things. In that, one of the things is that value and thereafter GST. Now, suppose you have not charged, that you mention on the invoice that it is inclusive of GST, then it is fine. But if you have not mentioned anything, that means you have not collected GST, then entire consider. जैसे मैंने संजय सर आपसे कुछ सर्विस लिया, आपने 1 लाख का बिल दे दिया, उसमें आपने GST चार्ज नहीं किया है, लेकिन आपने बिल पे लिखा भी नहीं है ना कि इट इज इंक्लूसिव ऑफ GST, देन एंटायर 1 लाख रुपीज इज द वैल्यू एंड GST उस पर भरना पड़ेगा 18%. लेकिन अगर आपने लिखा इट इज इंक्लूसिव ऑफ GST, तो आपको इंक्लूसिव का बेनिफिट मिलेगा. इसके ऊपर ट्राइब्यूनल के काफी डिसीजंस है. फाइन. नाउ हियर ही इज आस्किंग वेदर बिल्डर कैन कलेक्ट. यस, बिल्डर हैज गॉट राइट टू कलेक्ट, बट इफ बिल्डर डोंट वांट टू एक्सरसाइज द राइट, तो गवर्नमेंट को क्या करना है, उसको 1% 5% भर दो, तुम करो कलेक्ट मत करो, जो करना है वो करो, उससे हमको कोई मतलब नहीं है. सो दैट इज व्हाट इज, बट लॉ इज कंसर्न, लॉ हैज गिवन यू द पावर्स टू कलेक्ट, since but if you don't utilize that, there is no damage, you have to pay to the government, that's all.
Right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. There are many other questions also. We are overshooting the time. We will take up question.
I leave it to you. I am at your disposal. You have to entirely. It is your choice, sir.
Sir, it is actually we appreciate your efforts, sir. You are taking. We are using your energy, and you are putting everything for giving clarification. So वो है ना sir. More we hear you, more we want to hear you. तो अभी ये मौका आ गया है तो क्वेश्चन पूछने का लालच हो ही रहा है, बट फिर भी आपका भी हेल्थ और आपका भी पेशेंस हमको देखना है सर. Since last 1.5 hour you are talking.
Vashi Study Circle is my home, and I have another home at my house where I am not allowed to speak. So this is the only option I get.
Sir, everyone of same opinion. यही अपने को मौका मिलता है बात करने का.
Yes.
So I will take this opportunity to ask more 2-3 questions.
You can ask about 2-3
If you have 2-3 questions, you can take.
Yeah.
Okay. So one important question I read here. Still, square meter requirement is there for 1% GST for affordable house, or only value of 45 lakhs. And there is no requirement of square meter, please guide.
Gaya. Sir, that condition given in the notification of 29 March, if you read properly in my presentation also I have given, sir, that both the conditions are cumulative. The word is and. So 45 लाख मैंने अपने प्रेजेंटेशन में बताया, वाशी का एक भी फ्लैट उसमें नहीं बैठने वाला है. 45 lakhs के नीचे फ्लैट और 60 स्क्वायर मीटर के नीचे एरिया कारपेट. यानी कारपेट एरिया 60 बोला तो बिल्टअप कितना हो जाएगा आप देख लेना, क्योंकि 10.78 is a multiplier for 60, which comes to around 670, 680. That is carpet sellable area will be 1000 plus. 1000 square feet का वाशी में फ्लैट 45 लाख में तो मिलने का पॉसिबल नहीं. So both the conditions are cumulative है, individual नहीं करना है. That's all.
Okay, thank you, sir. Whether condition of 80% of inputs and input service from registered person to check every financial year or to check only in the year of obtaining OC for whole project?
It is for every
Year-wise.
year, sir. Every year wise. It is qua financial year.
Okay.
Year or part of the year. If your project has started in between, no, then also part of the year. So it is on year to year basis.
Okay. I hope answer is delivered to the member. If builder having more than one project, then at present, is it required to have a separate GST number for each project?
No, no, sir. No, no. If you have 10 project or 20 project within the Maharashtra state, it is choice given to you, sir. Earlier, this amendment came in 2019. Prior to that, you have no option but to take only one number unless and until you have different segment of business in India. Now within the same state. Now builder is only one segment. So prior to 2019, it was compulsory one number only. Now, perhaps this gentleman may be asking because he has suppose 5-6 project, the different site and the material is been going at different places. Yes, you can register every site as an additional place if you want. That is that, but the number still will remain same. After 2019 February, there's an option been given to you. If you want to have a different number, then you can have it. There is absolutely no problem within the same state also. It's an option being given to you. Specifically, there was a representation like a hotel industry. समझो होटल नवरत्न आपके यहाँ पे है वाशी में. अभी नवरत्न का 10 ब्रांच रहेगा महाराष्ट्र में अलग-अलग जगह पे. तो वो उसको जीएसटी रिटर्न भरने के दिन प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है. 10 ब्रांच से डेटा मिलाना है. तो वो लोग ने रिप्रेजेंटेशन किया था कि भाई हम लोग को 10 नंबर दे दो ना. तो देन गवर्नमेंट इन 2019 हैज परमिटेड कि ठीक है जिसको 10 है. अभी देखो सर, आई एम सॉरी ऑन अ लाइटर साइड, संजय जी आपको 4 शादी करना है तो फिर तकलीफ भी आपको भी झेलना पड़ेगा ना सर. 4 रिटर्न भरना है, 4 असेसमेंट, सब 4 हो जाएगा. आई एम सॉरी, आई एम ऑन अ लाइटर साइड.
सर अभी आपने बोला घर पे बात करने का मौका नहीं मिलता, ये 4 बार कौन रिपीट करेगा? अच्छा सर, one more question. I am being owner of land, getting 25 flats from the builder in the exchange of land development rights. Whether I am liable for tax, GST?
Yeah. See, builder is giving you 25 flats in lieu of a development right you have given. There are 2 separate transactions are happening. This is barter transaction to that extent. Builder is giving you a service, that is by deeming fiction of this of construction. So builder will obviously charge you GST on all those 25 units at the applicable rate. That is the first aspect. Second, in turn consideration क्या जा रहा है आपकी तरफ से? तो you are giving him development right, which is a consideration in kind. And on development right, I have explained in the very first question you asked that it is nothing but a service for the purpose of GST subject to the litigation. But I support that let us not go for litigation. Chances of success will be very remote considering the definition is concerned. But in any case, there is a second transaction. Now, for the purpose of this GST dischargement, there is a supply. See, Sanjay sir is a builder, Rajiv Luthia is a landowner. Sanjay, I have given land development right to Sanjay sir. Sanjay sir has given me 25 flats. So there are 2 transactions happen. There is a supply of service from Sanjay sir. On that, Sanjay sir will charge us GST as applicable on the flats, which is 1%, 5%. Okay, commercial is 12%. I have given you development right. On that, GST is applicable. But in the law, after 1st April 2019, if this transaction happens, then the tax, there is a levy, but that levy has to be discharged by the recipient. That means Sanjay sir has to pay. यानी मेरे भी सप्लाई पे टैक्स उन्होंने भरना है इफ इट इज अ ट्रांसफर ऑफ डेवलपमेंट राइट। इसका मतलब टैक्स तो दोनों पे लगता है लेकिन भरने वाला एक ही आदमी है। नाउ इन दैट केस वन मोर थिंग इज दैट एज रिगार्डिंग द कमर्शियल प्रीमाइस, यानी मैंने आपको जो डेवलपमेंट राइट दिया उसका यूटिलाइजेशन अगर आप फुल फ्लेज कमर्शियल ऑफिस करने के लिए कर रहे हो तो उसका टैक्स आपको इमीडिएटली भरना है डेवलपमेंट राइट मिलने के साथ ही। उसमें आपका लिक्विडिटी इश्यू हो जाएगा। समझो 100 करोड़ का लैंड है तो 18 करोड़ रुपए का टैक्स आ जाएगा। ओके और 18 करोड़ अभी तक तो आपने खड्डा नहीं खोदा और 18 करोड़ भरना आ जाएगा, बरोबर है, विच इज वेरी हार्डशिप। तो रेसिडेंशियल प्रीमाइसेस में एक नोटिफिकेशन है उसमें लिखा है कि इस पर टैक्स लगेगा इफ यू आर यूजिंग इट फॉर रेसिडेंस पर्पस देन यू नीड टू पे टैक्स only to the extent the premises remain unsold on the date of completion certificate, to that tune only. That means on this plot of land of 100 crore which I have given to you development right, 18 करोड़ का टैक्स लायबिलिटी श्योर है, उसका ब्लड उसको भरना नहीं है आपने आज, प्रोवाइडेड इट इज फॉर रेसिडेंस। और आपने उस पर बिल्डिंग बनाने को 4 साल लग गया, 4 साल में आपने सबका सब बिल्डिंग ओसी के पहले बेच दिया, आपने सब पे जीएसटी भर दिया, तो ये मेरा जो ट्रांजेक्शन आपसे हुआ था डेवलपमेंट राइट का वो कंप्लीटली एग्जम्पशन है, उस पे टैक्स नहीं भरना है। लेकिन समझो आपने आधा ही माल बेचा, 50% माल बिका, तो ये 100 करोड़ का 50% पे आपको टैक्स भरना है जिस दिन ओसी आएगा उसका, बरोबर है। ओसी के दिन का पोजीशन देखने का आपको फैसिलिटी है, ओसी के दिन भर सकते हो, लेकिन अगर आपको उसको पहले भी भरना है, अभी आप क्या संजय जी बड़े आदमी है, आप तो तुरंत पैसे भर दोगे आज का आज ही, तो आपको आज भी अलाउड है, यानी उसका लास्ट डेट है, उस दिन तक कभी भर सकते हो। अभी इसमें तकलीफ है, इन्होंने जो पूछा नहीं है वो भी मैं आपको बताता हूँ, इसका ऑफशूट क्वेश्चंस है, सिंस ही हैज आस्क्ड मी आई एम रिप्लाइंग टू दैट आल्सो विदाउट बीइंग आस्क्ड, माय अपॉलॉजी, आई एम टेकिंग 1 or 2 minutes on that. Now suppose the land which I have given it to you, in that process the development abhi I have given you and it is you are using for residence purpose, you are entitled for the exemption provided you sell everything. Now suppose you have immediately on booking 5-10 फ्लैट आपका बिका बुकिंग के दिन में, तो बुकिंग जिन समझो अशोक शेट्टी सर ने लिया, शानबाग सर ने लिया, व्हाटएवर, उनसे आपने जीएसटी वसूल किया फ्लैट का, अभी वो आपको भरना है, तो आपका जो ये टीडीआर मैंने आपको दिया है उस पे जो रिवर्स चार्ज भरोगे ना उसका आपको क्रेडिट मिलता है सर, यू आर गेटिंग क्रेडिट ऑफ द सेम इफ इट इज कमर्शियल, इफ इट इज रेसिडेंस देयर इज नो इशू, so if it is commercial you can make payment and take credit. Now as regarding the residence is concerned, problem come is आपने मेरे को अगर फ्लैट अलॉट किया है ना लैंड ओनर को, तो उस पे आप मेरे से टैक्स लोगे, जब वो उस पे मेरे पे टैक्स लोगे मेरे को, तो उस टाइम में भी इसके पहले आपको भरना है, तो आप भर सकते हो and you have no bar whatsoever.
Right, sir. Next question is on GST on lease. Actually, Govind, we have a full-fledged webinar on this topic on 18th. Still, I'll request sir to answer on this. Why CIDCO is charging GST on 18% on land provided on lease on RCM basis? We provided them undertaking that we going to pay GST on unsold units.
So we are already litigating on 2-3 matters on this, sir. In your case, I will tell you, it was before 2019 you might have entered into agreement. In your case, अगर agreement 2019 के पहले का है तो सिडको वाले ने interpretation ये किया है कि amendment है ना 2019 1st April. The amendment came from 1st April 19. That's why for old tax is applicable, which is absolutely not correct. And they have charged tax on it, which is very unfortunate to that extent. And we are also in the litigation. The matter will go for toss. As of now, it is still pending at adjudication level only, sir. So, in my view, tax nahi lag sakta if it is document is, even if it is, because effective date of lease is very important. When the lease has started, if it is started after April 19, then you have to make payment under reverse charge. CIDCO should not charge.
Okay. There are a few more questions, sir. I think questions are getting increase.
Sir, I leave it to you guys. There is a
we
question
are
session
already,
of Gupta sir is also there.
Yes, sir. Sir, I request you, sir. Question answer section is with you also.
Okay.
So if you can answer the question of your choice, or we can conclude here.
Sanjay sir, see at 7:40, I am no problem, sir. There is no issue. आपका appetite जो है, I am here, sir. जो आपको ठीक लगा वो क्वेश्चन आप पूछ सकते हैं, जो है ना सिलेक्ट करके पूछो, 10-15 मिनट जो भी है, no, we are no problem, sir. 5-10
So because our past chairman also want to talk to you.
Anyway, Sanjay sir, let past chairman ask any questions if they want us.
Sanjay.
Yes, sir.
Can I ask a question, Rajiv ji? Good evening.
अरे sir, it is pleasure, sir.
Sir,
सिर्फ इतना सिंपल पूछना है, हमको आ सकता है उतना ही पूछना है सर.
बहुत सिंपल है सर. You have already explained this with reference to section 15 subsection 5 of CGST Act.
Yeah.
And notification number 11 where 1/3 is the deeming provision for reduction in the cost.
Correct.
तो इसमें आपने बताया कि there are Supreme Court judgment on of Wipro and other
Century.
But still at the end, on the basis of these decided cases, why we are not able to claim a higher deduction where genuinely where the land cost is higher?
No, sir. Satish sir, one thing I'll tell you why we are not claiming it is I have while explaining in presentation I was telling is it mandatory or you have a choice, that I was explaining. Correct. And as notification 11 lays down the condition. Now it is a rate notification. Rate notification it is always the tax rate they have to specify. But actually if you read that notification, this notification is issued in view of the powers given in 6 different sections. So one of the section is 15.5 also. And 15.5 is a valuation. So this notification is issued which is within the powers of the government. तो जब विदिन द पावर दिया तो आप चैलेंज करोगे तो आपका जीतने का चांस कम है ना सर, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट यू कैन चैलेंज बट यू चैलेंज तो बट एट द एंड ऑफ द डे देयर इज अ वॉल नो, अपना सर पत्थर से आप ये हिट करोगे तो रिजल्ट आपको ब्लड ही निकलने वाला है. So then in that case here there is a chance of getting through is very difficult. But I was telling you it was very unfair. What I am trying to the lawmaker should give option ना sir. If I have got an option available documentary evidence, आपको सिंपल मैं बोलता ना वालकेश्वर में 1 लाख रुपया पर स्क्वायर फीट में अगर फ्लैट बिकता है ना, उसमें लैंड का ही कॉस्ट 50-60 हजार रुपए है.
Very unreasonable.
हाँ, क्योंकि कंस्ट्रक्शन कॉस्ट है ना 5,000 रुपया हो ही नहीं सकता है बॉम्बे में किधर भी पर स्क्वायर फीट. आपने आला ग्रांड बिल्डिंग बनाया तो भी 5,000-6,000 के ऊपर जाएगा नहीं कंस्ट्रक्शन कॉस्ट. तो देयर इज इट इज ओनली FSI कॉस्ट. तो व्हाई दैट पर्सन इज पेइंग मोर टैक्स? समबडी शुड चैलेंज इट, बट देन चैलेंजिंग व्हाट? हाउ यू विल चैलेंज? कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनली दे आर राइट ना सर. द लॉ मेकर हैज मेड द लॉ. देयर इज अ फिक्शन अवेलेबल. The powers have been used. So abhi now you have to only explain to the government, make a representation कि there are few genuine cases. See, in that case, no, people are actually speaking. See, I'll tell you one more thing. आप सर हमारे यहाँ बदलापुर या उसके आगे फ्लैट लेते हो जहाँ भी, जिधर 2,500 रुपया 2,200 रुपया ऐसा रेट चलता है, अभी उधर भी कंस्ट्रक्शन कॉस्ट 1,800 रुपया तो है ही सर. तो उधर लैंड का
1/3 नहीं रहता है.
नहीं, उधर 100 रुपया है तो भी उसको डिडक्शन 1/3
मिलता है. बराबर.
हाँ, तो अभी क्या हो रहा है कि 4 आदमी को नुकसान हो रहा है, 4 आदमी को फायदा हो रहा है. बट वॉट एवर इज देयर, गवर्नमेंट विथ इज विजडम हैज एक्टेड विद इन द पावर. सो वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू सक्सीड आफ्टर चैलेंज.
थैंक यू. थैंक यू राजीव.
थैंक यू सर.
एनीवन फ्रॉम द पैनलिस्ट?
Luthia sir, एक छोटा क्वेश्चन है. Can one flat in the same building be affordable and another non-affordable? I think answer is yes, isn't it?
Yeah. It is. I have explained. It is building is not affordable. It is a flat which has to be looked at.
Sir, एक छोटा चीज आपसे clarification for the sake of all the attendees.
Yeah.
Somebody had asked the question: what happens when customer pays on installment basis for the booking of flat?
Yeah.
Sir, one thing to be clarified that even if the customer doesn't pay, there is a charge for the builder when he does construction, isn't it?
Correct, sir. Correct. Sir, for the gentleman who has asked, or rather you asked in the interest, sir, जूने जमाने में हम लोग वैट का प्रैक्टिस करते थे. श्योर, मेनी चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट. एक्साइज कुछ लोग करते थे. करेक्ट. ये दोनों भी लॉ के अंदर, whether you receive money or don't receive, you have to pay VAT ना.
Yes.
आपने आज माल बेचा, आपको पैसा नहीं भी मिला, लेट भी मिला, कुछ भी हुआ, गवर्नमेंट को टैक्स आप भरते थे ना. व्हाई यू आर वेटिंग फॉर दिस थिंग? बिकॉज लॉ प्रोवाइड्स द ट्रांजिशन लेवी चार्ज वाज इन्वोक, लेवी वाज इन्वोक, यू हैव टू डिस्चार्ज. तो बिल्डर इज कंसर्न, बिल्डर के लिए क्यों एक्सेप्शन? बिल्डर ने पहले बिफोर दिस इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स लॉ, बिल्डर ने कभी जिंदगी में बिल इश्यू नहीं किया क्योंकि कोई लॉ में है ही नहीं रिक्वायरमेंट. Now the first time under service tax law rule 4A provided the every service provider to issue invoice. शानबाग सर, सॉरी अशोक सर, रेंटिंग का बिल कभी आपको मिलता है क्या? सी और नॉट, आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट ऑफिस रेंट. घर भाड़े पे लिया उसका रेंटिंग का there is an agreement, every month you make payment, where is the invoice? कोई किसी ने आज तक पूछा नहीं. But when after service tax, GST, you have to raise the invoice. It's so builder also is supposed to raise the invoice. Now based on the invoice, there is a time of supply. The section 11, 12, they are getting invoked. And whether you receive money or don't receive, you have to pay to the government. This is a clear-cut law on that front.
Yes.
Any other direct question to sir?
Sir, a small question.
Yes.
May I ask?
Yeah, Adhyapak ji, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Sir, on opting of new scheme for ongoing project after 1/4/2019, if I pay on reversal of ITC late, whether I have to pay interest?
Yeah, obviously, sir. Obviously, yes, you have to pay interest.
It is not a defaulted tax dues, no?
No. Why not,
It
sir?
was a proper tax dues when the law was prevailing that time. As per that law, the tax has been paid. So it is not defaulted tax dues.
Now I'll put it in the other way, sir. You argued as a client or chartered accountant, fine. Now let me think from government perspective. Whenever you have availed credit, it is within the four corner of the law. I never denied that, sir. मैंने कभी objection लिया नहीं, वो law में है, you have taken, fine. Then I am only lawmaker. मैंने आपको बोला कि सर 31 मार्च तक का whatever comes up, you do calculation in this fashion. I have given you formula. उसके बाद मैं आपको time दिया है जून महीने तक का कि इतना दिन में भर दो. Okay. Now that means to that extent you were not eligible for ITC as per the law. आपका मार्च का पोजीशन है. आपने समझो अप्रैल से मार्च 12 महीने लिया क्रेडिट. मैंने आपको कुछ नहीं बोला, आपने क्रेडिट यूज किया. उसके बाद में आपको कैलकुलेशन करने के बोला, बाद में जून तक का टाइम दिया आपको भरने के लिए. वो तो ओल्ड लॉ में भी था ना, सर्विस टैक्स में आपको रूल 6(3)(a) के हिसाब से रिवर्स करना था. नाउ यू आर नॉट पेइंग ऑन 30 जून. मेरे को पैसा लेना है आपसे एंड यू आर यूजिंग माय मनी. तो आर यू नॉट डिफॉल्टर, सर? So why you don't
because of operation of law, but it is not because of default on my part. Because the tax was paid as per the law prevailing at that point of time, and later on till September, of course, time was given. By before that time, the amount should have been paid, but it was not paid.
No, but Adhyapak ji, one more thing.
Section talks about defaulted tax dues. So whether it fits within the definition of defaulted tax dues.
This amount which I am asking from you is a reversal of credit, no, sir?
Yeah, reversal.
Which you were not eligible, no, sir. And why you are not eligible? Because this calculation has to be done on year basis. So year खत्म होने के बाद ही आपका exempted supply, taxable supply का total आएगा ना, sir जी, बरोबर. And that's why actual figure, I cannot ask you to perform something which is impossible. तो आपका पूरा साल का फिगर मिलने के बाद आपको कितना एलिजिबल है मालूम पड़ा. तो तब तक जो मैंने आपको दिया वो प्रोविजनल क्रेडिट अलाउ करते गया ना मैं आपको. और मैं आपको सितंबर तक का इंटरेस्ट किधर चार्ज कर रहा हूँ फिर. लेकिन आपको सितंबर में भी नहीं देना है तो सर मेरा पैसा आप यूज कर रहे हो ना. तो नॉट ओनली इंटरेस्ट, आई विल लेवी पेनल्टी आल्सो, सर.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Okay.
Sir, in connection with the Adhyapak sir question,
yeah,
I have taken the credit of this input. My tax credit,
yeah,
but I have not utilized it. In that scenario, also I have to, when I reverse it, I have to pay interest.
No, sir. In that case, no, you will not be paying interest because now Section 50 is also amended. We have very much, the statute says that unless the interest is to be paid only on the amount which is utilized. If it is not utilized, obviously there will not be any interest whatsoever.
It's lying in my credit ledger, but I have not utilized.
Yes, you have to reverse it. No issue about it. Of course, department will not accept at ground level, but you will succeed at a tribunal forum. Litigation cost लगेगा 2 level तक का.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. And hats off to your energy, your dedication, your commitment and love about the Navi Mumbai branch, sir. We already shot up time by around 50 minutes. Still your energy is so positive and you are ready to answer all queries. Sir, ये GST इतना बड़ा है ना, queries खत्म नहीं होने वाली है. But we have to take care of your health also. And we will, sir, यही तो है sign कि we need you more. Very often we need you here to give explanation and to enrich our knowledge, sir.
I am really truly obliged for your love and respect and keep inviting me on that part. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
One of you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Rajiv ji. So nice of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Raju. Thank you, sir, for spending your time for our branch.
Yeah.
Sir, we will.
Sir, it is my duty, Bhujbal sir. That,
No, sir.
always.
You have given a lots of inputs to us.
Yeah.
Thank you very much again.
Propose vote of
Yes,
thanks.
yes. Sir, it was wonderful presentation from your side and very informative, interactive, and knowledge enriching. So, what thank you will be very small for your in appreciation to your contribution to today's successful webinar. But formally, टी तो complete करनी पड़ेगी sir. So I invite my our branch's vice chairman Abhishek Shah sir to offer you a formal vote of thanks as a token of our gratitude.
Thank you.
Abhishek, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Sanjay sir. As you mentioned formally, but the session, looking at the session, we have to say big thank you to Rajiv sir. So just to summarize today's session, Rajiv sir, you nicely covered the constitutional aspect as well as you covered all the practical aspect related to legal history, levy and tax liability outward supply. And also, sir, in question answer, you nicely captured the live example like Navratna Hotel and 4 marriages of Sanjay sir and all these things. So the way you presented was fabulous. So on behalf of NAVI Mumbai branch of WIRC, we thankful to you for giving your valuable time to us. Also, we thanks to our all the past chairmen sir for gracing this webinar. Also, special thanks to Sanjay Nikam sir for handling this Q&A part of this webinar. Also, we thanks to all the members and participants who attend this webinar and becoming this successful session. And also, we thanks to our branch staff for technical support. So, thank you everyone. So, we can conclude today's session with the permission of